The files are still alive. They're alive.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, April 14th, 2019. This is your award-winning Gibbo Nation Media Assassination, episode 1129.
This is No Agenda.
Curating conspiracies and broadcasting live from the capital of the Drone Star State here in downtown Austin, Tejas, in the Cludio in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I don't believe everything I read, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
All right.
And the Zephyr should be coming by just now.
Oh, I timed it for such and such.
Yeah, well, such is not the case.
And such. Yes.
It's late.
Yes. Let's see. This is the only one more broadcast from this studio, Cludio.
Oh,
yeah.
You get one more and then
one
none.
More. Yeah, Thursday and then Friday we move everything out. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Studio shutting down, moving out party?
I don't know. I'll be happy if everything just works on Sunday from the new studio, and then we can celebrate. Let's make sure that happens first. You never know. You never know.
Connectivity at the other place?
Yes, have connectivity, but as you know, I do not yet have fiber because the home doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I don't have a mailbox yet either.
I thought they corrected that. We were going to do something about that.
Oh, no. After we talked about it on the show, the next day I got 2 calls from 2 supervisors.
Yeah, you told me this. It was on the last show or after the show.
Yeah, I told you after the show.
Yeah. 2 supervisors. This is the problem.
Well, actually,
there should be 1 supervisor,
and
not 2 supervisors.
And both of these 2 supervisors referenced a 3rd supervisor. So I've got Chris, I've got Roy, and I've got Jake. And there's
Jake.
Yeah,
who's the top guy?
Yeah, I think it's Chris. I'm not sure. The problem is
Jake.
The post office. Roy. The post office. They do not give you their last names when you call them. When they call you,
they don't need the harassment.
I'm sure, but they will not give you their last name. I said, well, how do I ask for you? Well, just ask for Chris. Okay.
This is Chris.
Hey, Chris. So, yeah, apparently they, oh, yes, we have a solution. We have found a mailbox. And what, didn't someone call you already? Well, we're so surprised. No one called me. And that was, well, there we go. It's 6 days ago, and I still don't have a mailbox. So
it's a weekend.
Yes, exactly. Well, it was interesting to see Scott Adams this morning.
What was he?
He does his
little Periscope.
His Periscope thing. He said, "Oh, there's no news, so I'll just be taking your questions." There's a lot of news.
Yeah, there's a lot of news.
There's a lot of things going on. I was just surprised. And I guess he only focuses on U.S. political stuff.
I don't know. Well, he focuses on stuff that he can ridicule the response to.
Yeah,
so we deconstruct things a certain way, and he's looking to look for the psychological underpinnings that have the public buffaloed.
Yeah, we don't ridicule ever at all for any reason. No, that would be horrible if we did that. But let's go ahead and ridicule Britain for a moment. Yeah. I got a great clip, or a informative clip, about the people's vote. As I think most people know, that the European way, the EU way, is you let the people vote, and when they don't vote the way the elites want it, you vote again. And again, if necessary. And it could just be ignored altogether. See the Netherlands, see France with the Lisbon Treaty. Ireland had to vote multiple times.
Yeah, it's a good gimmick.
Yeah, so they're really, and this is why it was easy for us.
Hillary would be president if we employed that gimmick here.
Well, I came across a France 24 interview with Alistair Campbell, who used to be Tony Blair's main guy. He's a Labour guy, so he would be clearly on the, or not clearly, but he's on the Remainer side. And he's pushing, I think he's actually involved in and behind the people's vote, which again would not be a surprise, seeing that Blair has also, cropped up talking about this. And he's going to explain here why we need a do-over.
So I think there will be a long extension. I think that's a good thing. I think it does open the door to greater period for reflection, a process that hopefully will lead to a second referendum and give people the chance to say, based on everything you now know about Brexit, as opposed to the lies that were told in 2016, do you want to carry on?
Hang on just a moment, though, because we've had, let's face it, almost everyone would agree with at least 3 months, if not 3 years now.
I love I think this is like a common thing, the use of the word lies.
Yes.
Which, yeah, they do it with Trump, too. I mean, Trump will say something like, yeah, I've been here for, 30 days. You've been here for 31 days. It's a lie.
Well, John, hold on. John. Trump also does talk an awful lot of bull crap.
Oh, no, he's a bullshit artist.
Yeah. So that's lies.
Using the lie meme is they overdo it. I mean, if you just concentrate on his true bullshit, it wouldn't be so extreme. But no. They told 6,000 lies, and most of these are inconsequential. You have to admit that's true.
Yes.
Now, this idea of, here's the lie. We want to leave the EU and become our own country like we used to be.
Yeah.
That's it. That's really the basis of Brexit. The rest of it is like there was lies to counteract lies. Oh, if we say yes, the economy is going to collapse. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Lies on both sides.
Well,
This is to me the use of the word lie to make a point, which is not even being made under these circumstances. And I would say the same with Trump. I'm sick of it.
In 2016, do you want to carry on?
Hang on just a moment, though, because we've had, let's face it, almost everyone would agree with at least 3 months, if not 3 years now, of pretty chaotic scenes in the UK. Surely if you have a second referendum, which is what you're advocating, doesn't that make that chaos just even worse?
Yeah. I think for a while, possibly. But I think surely, one of the arguments that the Brexit people are putting is that, democracy means you have to do what the people said on June the 23rd, 2016.
Yeah.
But what we've seen, the chaos that you're describing, is what that means in practice and how hard it is. And, of course, the public, there's no point denying this, the public were sold a lie. The big lie was that this could be done without pain, without cost. We could have our cake and eat it. We could keep all the same benefits of being inside the single market while being out. It's a nonsense.
Was that how it was sold?
No.
I don't remember it being
sold.
So
let's get out of this thing.
Yeah, I don't think it was everything will be groovy and cushy. But yeah.
There are a lot of people who voted for it, though, who will say,
That's
I don't actually care about all of that.
That is true.
I just want to get out of Europe.
True.
I voted for it. We voted for it. It was a democratic decision. It should be followed through.
I agree. There are lots of people who think that. But I think what you're seeing in Parliament is MPs and ministers, those who are honest with the British people, are saying and making clear that looking into it, fine, but understand we cannot do this without there being a big impact upon your lives that may be very, very negative. Now, that's a big thing for an MP to do, to vote for something saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to vote for it because you voted for it 3 years ago, but I know it's going to make you poorer. That's a big thing to do. So I think actually that is the reason why it's democratic to have another vote, to say to people, okay, that's what you voted for in theory. Here's the practice. Do you want to proceed? Now, I cannot for the life of me see how that's anti-democratic.
How can it be anti-democratic when, you have a vote and you do another one? Because, lies.
2 out of 3.
Lie. Could we even predict a 2 out of 3? That would be quite brazen of us, but not unthinkable.
I can see it happening. They have the vote goes the other way, and they say, well, wait a minute. We got to do 2 out. And they'll find some flaw in the second go around. That was like, well, the problem here is they lied about this and they lied about that, and they get to people. That's not the way it was going to go, and let's do 2 out of 3, and then it could be 3 out of 5, and then it could go on forever.
Yeah.
But it would. I think if they had a second vote, it would be voted out. It would be voted down. I don't think Brexit would take place, even though Farage and the Brexit Party and all these other people think they're going to have a bigger yes vote. I don't see it happening. It's just the same way. It's just the way the propaganda machine works.
It seems obvious that Farage starting up the Brexit Party, that they feel it's coming, that they know that a people's vote, a second referendum is on the way. It seems unavoidable now.
Yes, and then they can have their Brexit Party after the second referendum kills Brexit.
Yeah.
And now you have this Brexit Party, which is a protest party, claiming one thing or another to try to get some MPs in office and keep the thing going in the kind of a subversive way.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a subversive guy.
Yeah.
So that he'd be real comfortable with this situation because it gives him the kind of platform he likes. Well, they did this, they did that. There was a song, I don't know if you heard the song, I clipped the whole thing, that I thought was extremely well done by this LibJoe webpage called Joe, curiously.
No, I don't know about this.
Oh, yeah, and what they did, though, this is the kind of thing, our producers have not done this, I'm not wanting to play this just so to encourage anyone doing this sort of thing. But they took it's one of those, you've seen these types of songs before. They took a guy and clipped his words and made him start saying things he wasn't saying and then put it in auto tunes.
Yeah.
So he's singing a song, and it's a takeoff on a pop song that was popular, and I would like you to play it.
Okay, what is this? Is this Lulu?
Nigel's song from Joe.
Okay, I can't wait. When you wake up, is that the one?
Yeah.
When you wake up, well, you know I'm gonna be the man who's older, lie to you.
Oh, great.
And when we go out, well, you know I'm gonna be the man who acts as Putin's fool. When you're suffering, well, you know I'll never be the man who's suffering with you. And if you're Muslim or a Syrian refugee, then you're not welcome in my outright UKIP queue.
And the chorus.
Because I would tell 500 lies and I would tell 500 more. Just to stand up, and then
I'm putting that at the end of the show. That's good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's end of show material right there. Yeah, good
It
work.
was very good. But it's very insulting. It's a scam. It's a lie itself.
So,
but it was really well done.
Yeah, I like that.
And it was done with video, so he had some funny stuff in the video too.
Oh, that's good. Well, that's very creative, and I think that should put some of our mix masters on alert.
Notice.
Yeah, notice. There's people out there doing good work. Yeah, it's very fun though. My British friends, I still have a phone here at home.
British friends?
Yes, and I still have a phone here that does WhatsApp, so I can communicate with British friends because they're too cheap to text message. Not kidding. It's free. It's free. That's true. It's free.
It's free.
It's free. And they're like tripping out, and I'm like, hey, do you think we got problems? Look at you. You have Trump. Oh, yeah? Do you even have a country? What do you... Oh, well, that's true. That's true. And, so it's fun. The public is just beside themselves. They don't know. They don't understand anything anymore. They really don't know where it's going. And of course, in typical Brit fashion, they'll all argue that they do. So that they're up for another vote. People's vote. Friends of the show in the United Kingdom of Gitmo Nation East. You are getting another referendum. Take it from the team who's been there.
It's all part of the same cycles of world domination.
It is.
By the elites.
It is.
They don't want their stuff stolen.
Now, there were a couple of outrages. It was a funny thing that happened, and I think I have the genesis of what happened. There was, I guess it was, do they consider this person a whistleblower or someone leaked that Trump apparently had said in a meeting, hey, ship those immigrants, those illegal immigrants, ship them off to the sanctuary cities. And then he confirmed it.
No, that he did. But they bogusified, yes, is a perfect term. Bogusified the story. I have a clip from PBS that has some of this in there, which I think is bull crap because it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, he does have leaks, but this is abnormal. Just asking DSS DHS. I misspelled shutdown.
It's okay. I understood what you meant.
There are also new reports involving the new acting Homeland Security Secretary, Kevin McAleenan. The New York Times reported President Trump urged him to close the U.S. southern border sooner than the president had said he might during a trip there last week. The Times and CNN both say the president then offered to pardon McAleenan if he ran into legal trouble or was jailed because of the move. Separately, NBC News reported administration officials have discussed a plan to send more U.S. troops to the border to build tent city detention camps for migrants. Some 5,000 troops are already deployed there, mainly to reinforce existing barriers.
Well, that doesn't say anything.
So this story about, Trump says, don't worry about it, just do it. Now, here's the problem with this story, and this is another New York Times / CNN made up story. And I say that because Trump can shut down the border anytime he wants to. And instead of doing that, he's going to talk to his DHS guy and say, hey, I want you to shut down the border and I'll pardon you if you get arrested.
Yeah, but that wasn't the story. That wasn't the outrage. The outrage, and I guess you must have missed this.
Oh, you know about sending everyone to San Francisco?
Or sanctuary cities, yeah.
Yeah. No, this clip I thought included that because that was part of this report. But,
right.
Yeah, and Trump has decided that San Francisco and Oakland probably should have all these immigrants, and so he's going to ship them there. Don't believe me. I'm very aware of this story since it's a local story. And
I'd like to point out, in first case, if you look around the United States, you will see asylum seekers. Maybe it's a better description of the people we're talking about in this case. Asylum seekers, as well as undocumented immigrants who are taken by the non-governmental organizations paid for by the State Department and shipped all over the country. They're already being shipped, and they're shipped, and this is the scam. Let me explain it again. You come in, you claim asylum, you get picked up by the NGO. The NGO is paid for by, and they're usually religious organizations, most of them, the big ones. They are paid for by the United States taxpayer. It's a part of the United States State Department, and they will ship you to a place where, coincidentally, big corporations need cheap labor. Detroit, as an example.
Well, Somalians are all over the place in Minnesota.
Yep. And so everyone took severe offense against the idea of shipping them off to sanctuary cities. But Trump really messed this one up. And the Republicans and all the right-wing media, this is how it goes. Well, you said you love them so much, you want them, well, why won't you take them? I guess you didn't want them in your backyard. Fuck that. You're just as bad as the left when you do that. That's sarcastic bullshit, and Trump did it too. And it's just like, do it and shut up. And don't like, oh yeah. So you don't think it's antagonistic to mock people by saying, oh, I thought you wanted them. It's childish and it's very sickening. And it's just, yes, we get it. Everyone's a comedian. Everyone's a joker. And then it turned into, and this was bizarre, dumping. Somehow the word dumping came into play. And every left-wing media outlet was saying, Trump wants to dump them here. Dump them at sanctuaries. Dump them.
Well, this stems, the dumping terminology stems from the homeless ploys, which are employed by many of the larger cities, the smart cities. Mm-hmm. They round up all the homeless and then put them on a bus to Santa Monica.
Yes.
And I think a lot of this stems from that kind of style. That's called dumping the homeless.
Right.
So you dump them in Austin. Austin was a target for a while from California.
Yes, but what's interesting is that I can't find anywhere where anyone on the Trump side said dump them. So this was a left-wing thing. And then, of course, the right wing is like, you say you're dumping them like they're trash. You think that immigrants are trash.
I think it is a left-wing term.
Yes. Well, I think
it was developed by the left to counter the dumping
of homeless.
That was done with the homeless, and the left was bitching and moaning about it. And they came up with using the term dumping.
Well, I have two response clips. One from one of the Castro brothers, Julian Castro.
A report from the Washington Post. The Trump administration pressured the Department of Homeland Security to release immigrants detained.
See, this was early on, where the word was still release.
At the border into so-called sanctuary cities, in part to retaliate against Democrats who oppose Trump's plans for a border wall. Give me your reaction to that, Secretary.
That the cruelty of this administration never seems to end.
Cruelty!
A year ago, this administration told us that as Americans, if we would just be cruel enough to separate little children from their parents, that would deter more families from coming to our southern border. Mm-hmm. And in fact, the opposite has happened. And so it's amazing what lengths they're going to. Now they're talking about, busing families to particular cities to target political opponents. These folks
hold on a second.
Want to.
Couple of things. One, I'm getting a little tired of the separation meme because this is something Obama's administration did all along.
Yeah, well, just get over it.
How is it cruelty?
No.
If I'm some migrant, I think I hit the jackpot.
No, you're missing
across the border.
Yeah.
They throw me into a bus and then ship me to San Francisco, where, believe me, they can use some Mexicans to clean up the streets, if nothing else. And I don't see that. How is this cruelty as opposed to just making them suffer at the border?
Okay, I think you're missing the point.
Explain to me what cruelty is in this sense.
In this context, and this is because Trump. And I thought you would have it. That's why I didn't clip it. I should have gotten it. Because Trump said literally, I thought we were so happy. They want them. That's Sanctuary City. We'll give them to.
Yeah, I know Trump said something. It wasn't quite in those words. But,
yeah, it was because he did the. And let me answer your question. He mocked the sanctuary cities.
Yeah.
Which then gave his opponents all the ammunition they needed to say, you're so cruel that you will use people, a situation of people, not what you're doing to the people, but you will use people to attack political opponents. That's what they're calling cruel in this case.
Well, this is a pretty wide use of the term.
Well, of course.
I don't think it's cruelty. I don't see it as cruelty. I think it's doing these guys a favor. They're probably doing the sanctuary city people a favor. Okay, cruelty is because he's manipulating a population. Is that so? That manipulation?
No. You have to put yourself into the left mindset. You have to feel, oh my God, he's using people to attack his enemies. He's using these poor people. Don't you understand how the left sees that?
In this case, I don't believe they're sincere.
Of course they're not sincere. That's why the whole thing is just idiotic, and someone needs to stop it.
Target
no one's going to stop nothing.
Opponents. These folks.
Here, Castro actually says it right here about the cruelty. It's just 15 seconds.
Families to particular cities to target political opponents. These folks want us to choose cruelty as a weapon against these people and against political opponents. And last week I released an immigration plan. Mm-hmm. I'm calling on Americans to choose compassion, not cruelty.
You see, it's not compassionate. Now, Jeffrey Toobin on CNN, I think he went one step further and he let his actual feelings flow through, as in the truth always wants to come out. And so no one said anything, the Trump or the DHS or ICE or the right wing, no one said anything about these people other than, hey, you love them, they should be in your sanctuary city. Jeffrey Toobin already has an idea in his mind as to how he thinks about these people, and this is what he came up with.
Well, my first reaction was, huh? I mean, really? I mean, the idea of using these human beings as a kind of pestilence to spread around the country. I mean, it is so
So he sees pestilence. Actually,
he sees the migrants as pests.
Listen.
As a plague of insects.
He literally says that.
I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth when you said, these are human beings, and to treat them like a form of plague that you want to impose on your enemies is really grotesque. Now, I guess the good news we can say is that it hasn't happened, or at least it hasn't happened yet. But I think it's indicative of the attitude towards illegal immigrants or undocumented undocumented people, whatever term you want to use.
Oh, he almost screwed up. He said illegal immigrants. Undocumented, whatever you want to use.
Illegal immigrants or undocumented citizens.
Undocumented citizens. Keep going, Toobin. Keep going, man. You're doing well.
Illegal immigrants or undocumented citizens, undocumented people, whatever term you want to use, as something less than human.
Something less than human, and there we are. We're back to Hitler. Thank you, Jeffrey Toobin.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a botch that was.
Yeah. But that's...
He gets paid a lot of money to do that.
I hope he does. Well, while we're just on the Trump hate, Nipsey Hussle was gunned down in front of his sports store. And you probably never heard of Nipsey Hussle before.
You're correct.
But they had I think it was the Nokia auditorium. I think they had it filled for his, in Los Angeles, for his memorial service.
I'm familiar with that spot.
I'm sorry?
I'm familiar with that spot. It's huge.
Yeah, so I think the same place where they had it for Michael Jackson. And it was, Nipsey. The guy was a gangster. He was a hip-hopper. And all I hear now is how he wanted to do good for the community and bring everybody together. And to be honest, it took me a little research, not much. I'm like, I remember who this guy is. But it was as if a saint had fallen. And I need to push back on that by reading for you some of Nipsey Hussle's lyrics. I like white folks, but I don't like you. All the niggas in the hood want to fight you. Surprised El Chapo ain't tried to snipe you. Surprised the Nation of Islam ain't trying to find you. Have a rally out of L.A. We're going to fuck it up. Home of the Rodney King riot. We don't give a fuck. Black students ejected from your rally. What? I'm about to go right now. You racist ass did too much. About to turn Black Panther. Don't let Donald Trump win. That nigga cancer. He too rich, ain't got the answers. He can't make decisions for this country. He going to crash us. No, we can't be a slave for him. He got me appreciated Obama way more. Hey, Donald, everyone that follows, you gave us the reason to be president, but we hate yours. Oh yeah, fuck Donald Trump. Fuck Donald Trump.
Yeah, nigga,
fuck Donald Trump. Yeah, nigga, fuck Donald Trump.
Yeah, fuck Donald Trump.
Outstanding citizen. What a shame he's gone. What a shame.
I also want to remind people who do remixes of our show and do some musical things at the end, do not put music behind one of Adam's readings. We will not run it.
Yes, it has legal ramifications.
Legal ramifications. He can do it as a fair use in this context, but we can't put music behind it.
But my point is clear.
Yeah,
and that was
didn't you bring this up when the guy first got killed?
No,
that he was a no good Nick.
No, I don't think so. I
did. Somebody did.
Well, I don't know if he's a no good Nick, but that's not entirely the upstanding citizen who is trying to help his community with hate.
Yeah,
and you just can't tell me that. And no one mentioned this. This video was not played anywhere. No one referenced it. And
why do you think this is? Let's go and analyze this. Are they just hard up for entertainment in L.A. that they have to, here's a good opportunity to pack Nokia Center?
Yeah, probably. That probably doesn't hurt. Yeah, let's pack Nokia Center. Who's dead? Who cares? Yeah. And then, but the coolest thing was the guy who shot him, and that's not cool, but the guy who shot him, his name was Eric Holder.
Yes, I love that.
How nutty does that? And spelled the same way.
Yes, it's Eric Holder.
With a C. It's like, geez, man, okay. Oh, is that subliminal or what is it?
Eric Holder shoots the rapper.
Yeah. No, it's just extremely, extremely disturbing. And so I think it's important to sometimes, okay, so here's another thing I did. Ilhan Omar. Oh, Elon Omar was, I don't know, the New York Post, I guess, had seen her 25-minute speech at CAIR. CAIR is CAIR, the Council for American Islamic.
CAIR.
What did I say? CAIR. Yeah, CAIR. The Council for American Islamic Relations. And
in front for the Muslim Brotherhood.
Well, it was an unindicted co-conspirator in the which one was that? Front running the terror or financing the terrorist groups.
Yeah.
An unindicted co-conspirator, which is like the president, an unindicted co-conspirator. So take that for what you want it to be. But she said in her speech, some people did something on 9/11, and that was bad for Muslims. And because she said some people did something, it was reason for the New York Post to put a picture on the front page of the Twin Towers coming down. The actual moment, the flames, the smoke, the dust, everything, the nukes exploding underneath the buildings, and then Ilhan Omar. some people.
Slip that in, why don't you?
Mm-hmm, some people did something. Now, this was a very short clip, so I always like to go and find the context. What did she actually say, and what was going on? Because I want to try and be as fair as possible to all. Now, I have to say, I watched this whole speech. I only pulled one clip from it. I could have pulled several, but we would have been here for an hour because she talks like this. Very long pauses, and it's excruciating. But I can give you the rundown. Muslims get blamed. Muslims are treated as second-class citizens. Trump hates Muslims. He put a Muslim ban in place, which is just a lie. It was a country ban. We have to be good Muslims by making people uncomfortable with our presence. It is time for us to stop being allowed to be treated as second-class citizens in America, which I was not aware of. That was the feeling. So I pulled this one clip, which includes the 9/11 comment, and it kind of shows, well, I should also mention, in this 30 minutes, not once did she talk about doing whatever we need to do for the country, for the United States. She's a representative of the people. She didn't say anything about her state at all. It was only about Muslims are fucked in America, and Trump hates Muslims and wants us all dead. She didn't say dead, but that was the implication. But again, it's not in this clip. But listen to what her biggest gripe is, and this was her only example of how Muslims in America are treated as second-class citizens.
So the truth is, you can go to school and be a good student. You can listen to your dad and mom and become a doctor.
I wanted to also point out that she has this way of speaking,
I know,
which makes her sound intelligent. But after having watched this for half an hour, I can conclude she's dumb. She's not, she's not smart. She's just talking in an interesting way. And she's interesting to look at. It's very interesting.
You can have that beautiful wedding that makes mom and dad happy. You can buy that beautiful house. But none of that stuff matters if you one day show up to the hospital and your wife or maybe yourself is having a baby and you can't have the access that you need because someone doesn't recognize you as fully human.
Okay, what could this be?
Where's this?
So I just want to understand. She's setting it up by saying you can go to school, be great, have work, have a beautiful house, have a beautiful wife, and then go to the hospital to have a baby, and then all of a sudden you're not human. What is she talking about?
I don't know. What?
It doesn't matter how good you were. If you can't have your prayer mat and take your 15-minute break to go pray in a country that was founded on religious liberty.
So because there is no facility in this particular instance that she's generalizing for prayer, we're a horrible country. Yes, sorry. Fuck them. Down America. Down with America.
It doesn't matter how good you are. If you one day find yourself in a school where other religions are talked about, but when Islam is mentioned, we are only talking about terrorists.
I don't think there's a school in the Union that does that.
It's just the opposite.
The opposite. It is Islam is taught. Prayer is taught to fifth graders.
Yeah.
This is a lie.
And if you say something, you are sent to the principal's office.
Yeah, please tell me what school, and I will vilify that school.
So she's just making up this stuff just to get the audience to clap for her.
Here we go.
So to me, I say raise hell. Make people uncomfortable.
Now, I think, because she doesn't explicitly say it, I think what she's saying is by wearing your hijab or whatever men wear. We need to know what that dress is called, and the hat. We need to know the official names. That apparently
for the men.
Yeah,
it's a dish dash.
Dish dash.
Well, that's what Europeans call it.
Dish dash. So you need to make people feel uncomfortable, I guess, by wearing this clothing. Let me tell you, we got Muslims in Austin. It doesn't make me uncomfortable, but she believes that it does.
Because here's the truth. Here's the truth. Far too long, we have lived with the discomfort of being a second-class citizen. And frankly, I'm tired of it. And every single Muslim in this country should be tired of it.
And I'm really sorry to hear this. I had no idea that this is in Europe. Yeah, I can see how this might be going on. I don't see it. Even in Texas, I don't see people like, oh look, there's a lady with a hijab. Maybe it's going on. Maybe I'm just blind to it, but okay.
CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties. So you can't just say that today someone is looking at me strange, that I am going to try to make myself look pleasant. You have to say, this person is looking at me strange. I am not comfortable with it. I am going to go talk to them and ask them why.
So that was her entire comment. I don't think it warranted the front page. I don't think it warranted all the outrage.
Oh, and AOC get all bent out of shape about it too.
And she needs to shut up. None of it. Just not.
Think?
Yeah. So it wasn't worth that. And instead of focusing on what she's actually saying, which is predicated on hospitals who won't let you pray, I just don't believe that. Or is she saying she needs a different type of facility? I mean, well, she's not saying it, so I don't have the answer to that.
So, sir, she made a comment in there. I had to check it out because it didn't sound right. So when was 9/11?
On
9/11, 2001, right?
Yes.
CARE was founded in 1994.
Yeah, that was a good catch.
CARE was not founded after 9/11 because of the injustices or whatever. She's a liar.
That is a good catch. Let's listen to it again.
America needs to wake up to Ilhan Omar.
Oops, sorry, the wrong one. I wanted to play that beginning again. Here we go.
So the truth is...
The truth.
You can go to school and be a good student. You can listen to your dad and mom.
Oh, what's not there? Where was it? Here.
Long we have lived with the discomfort of being a second-class citizen. Should be tired of it.
Yeah.
CARE was founded after 9/11.
Okay. Well, that's a big-ass lie. And instead of everyone jumping around and screaming about an off-the-hand comment.
Wasn't this a speech at CARE?
Yes.
Well, they know that it wasn't founded after 9/11. It was founded in June of 1994. First office in Washington, D.C.
Fantastic.
Oh, brother. She's just a troublemaker. Why do they get these women? Why do they vote people like that into office?
Well, okay, so now
she doesn't care about the country.
Now I'll tell you, it's very easy why she was voted in. Look at who she represents. You just mentioned it earlier. The Somali population in Minnesota is quite large. So now, this is Katie Hopkins. And
now, hold on a second before you go on with Katie.
It's about Elon.
No, but I'm just talking about what you just said. Now, they do this. They take an immigrant population. The Syrians are one of them, and
took them to Michigan.
And they put them in some certain spots, so that way they create a voting bloc. This is a Democrat strategy.
Mm-hmm.
You create a voting bloc, they're going to vote one of their own in because there's enough of them to do it. This is the old. If you remember was it the Hare Krishnas or one of these groups had this compound up in Oregon that they took over the town.
Yeah. There's a documentary about
their
it.
own people into offices, and they were going to take over and steal the money. There was a book that was written by a number of left-wing radicals called, and it's very hard to find this book if anyone can find it because it's been bought back by everyone. They bought it all back because it was an indictment of the left and it was written by lefties, called The Wealth of Cities. Not Adam Smith, but The Wealth of Cities. And Tom Bass was one of the authors and one of our local politicians. And it talks about how you can move into a city, take over the place, take over the city council, steal the government money that's coming through, tax the people, take the federal money and just steal it, build housing for yourself and your buddies. And it's just a way of ripping off the public. And this is a method here that we're witnessing. It's happening again. And it's again being done by Democrats. If these guys were sincere about spreading, the refugees around, they'd spread them all over the country evenly. You wouldn't send them all to Michigan or Minnesota.
This is exactly what Katie Hopkins is going to talk about. And having grown up in Europe and knowing different sides of the discussion or debate, on the one hand, I say, yes, the tactic is very clear. And you see this in Belgium more than anywhere. Once you have allowed immigration to surpass levels that allow an immigrant bloc to have a voting bloc that can put people into office, then they are going to then serve that same voting bloc in that community, and it will change your country. That's the democratic process. So I cannot fault that. If you don't want that, then you need to, as you say, disperse the immigrants so they can't create one voting bloc. Although, I don't know, stop immigration altogether. These are the questions. But here's how Katie Hopkins feels about this particular issue as it pertains to Ilhan Omar.
America needs to wake up to Ilhan Omar. She's changing right before your eyes. And there are 3 simple steps to the Islamification of politics. We've already lived it here in the UK. Number 1, you have a voting bloc of people that are densely packed together, the same communities, Somali communities, Bangladeshi communities, 4 families living where one family used to live. And now you have them voting according to their religion, facilitated by the mosque.
Katie Hopkins is a journalist, correct? Or she's a columnist or journalist?
She is she's more of a columnist and she used to have one of the LBC shows and they kicked her off.
Yeah, a lot of people hate her because of the stuff she says. So let's continue.
Yeah, she's this is classic Katie.
Classic Katie.
Can flow in. You have the Muslim Housing Association. We have a Muslim Police Association. We have events, especially for the Muslim community of London. We have an Eid celebration in the middle of London in Trafalgar Square, paid for by the Muslim Mayor of London to keep his voting bloc happy. And once you have people voting according to their religion, funded by funding streams coming in from God knows where, you'll see the changes start to happen. You're seeing them now. For us, it means that we no longer have bikinis on our underground because it would be offensive to some of the locals. It means that certain individuals can no longer come to our country because we don't want to upset local communities. And it means that Asia Bibi, for example, a Christian woman, was not given a place to stay here in the UK because we don't want to upset local communities. Once you have Islam in political power, your culture starts to change rapidly. You started this by allowing head coverings to be worn inside your positions of power. You've seen Ilhan Omar change from having this kind of modern-looking, exotic-looking, bright orange, how very fabulous, into now this darker, blacker head covering. Now we're coming out and speaking out against Israel. Now we're saying that the president should be impeached. Now we're standing by the socialist Maduro in Venezuela. America needs to wake up to Ilhan Omar.
Yeah, classic Katie. That's exactly it. But they don't need to wake up to Ilhan Omar. You need to wake up to what's happening in your own community. What do you want in your community? How do you want stuff to be arranged? Who do you want your neighbors to be? How do you get along with your neighbors or not? You know, it's like, what do you want? It's your country. But let's not go after super immigration and then people start to learn the language and get a clue and get into office. This is the part that I detest the most, is these people on the sidelines going, take it over. Yeah, when you're not doing anything, then you need to get out and vote, the old white men party or whatever. But see, this is the problem, is that you get shamed into being a racist, a bigot, a xenophobe, if you just say, well, I want my neighborhood to maybe be different. You can't do that anymore. That's just over. With cancel culture, you get canceled out. And this is why in the Netherlands, my daughter and her girlfriend will not walk hand in hand on certain streets, which used to be completely a non-issue in the Netherlands.
They get clubbed?
Well, when I'm with them, they probably won't get clubbed, but yeah, they'll get yelled at by Muslims and spit on. Because there's two women, so that's they'll call them whores. Yeah.
Doesn't the city council do something about this?
That is the city council.
Oh,
no, because look at the mayor of Rotterdam, Muslim. So what is the city council? Who will they be driven by?
Well,
so I'm not. Again, here in Austin, I see plenty of Muslim people, or at least people wearing Muslim garb, and I don't see anyone freaking out. Seems to be okay. And if Austin, wants, and we bring more here, and then we can have them in city government, yeah, that's democracy. No problem with that. But anyway, just need to let everyone know that's exactly where we're headed, because that's what's happened in Europe. Now, I think the immigration was handled very differently there, but is it really? I'm not quite sure what happens to and I don't know if it's immigration. It's not the same, because here we're talking about asylum, people who are seeking asylum. And this is, those lines are not well defined. If you cross the border illegally, you're an illegal immigrant, but then you can, I guess, switch that to becoming an asylum seeker if you get caught. I think that's kind of the problem.
Well, we're not going to resolve this problem on this show.
Oh, no. But we do need to let everyone have the information. So, hey, it's how we're going to deal with the world. But this back and forth, and it's all Trump's fault. Shut up.
So there is, I have this old clip from 2015, which kind of addresses some of this. A very long clip, but it's a very interesting clip. This is a very famous admiral. People know as soon as I say this. This is Admiral Lyons, 4-star admiral in the Navy, who was at one of these gatherings, and he's, where everyone spills, says what they want. And he traces a lot of this kind of wimpish style back into the Reagan administration and the Carter administration, where it all began. And what you're kind of the situation that exists today, he kind of sees it as something that goes back a ways, and it has to do with the fact that we've lost our nerve or something. I'm not sure. Lyons died in like 3 years after this. And he was old, but he was a very interesting character. But let's listen to this as much as you can handle, but it's very interesting.
Thank you, Frank. Sorry I missed the earlier presentations due to my 3-hour and 20-minute commute this morning. But, you know, as a number of you heard me say before, we've had many opportunities to change the course of history. And it hasn't mattered whether it's been a Republican or Democratic administration. We failed every one of them, starting with Carter, with the takeover of our embassy. We could have cut off Khomeini and his Islamic fundamentalism at the knees. We were going to take Carg Island, and he rejected it. We could have walked in. The next time was the Marine barracks bombing. And you all probably wonder why we never responded. I wouldn't go in. Which
Marine barracks bombing was that? Do you
this
remember?
Is the one during the Reagan administration where the Marine barracks killed like 50 Marines, or it was one of the biggest disasters ever in the Middle East.
And who was blamed for this?
I believe this was it was either Iranian or Hezbollah,
Lebanon.
Or Hamas.
Wasn't it Lebanon?
Well, look up Marine barracks bomb. All you do is put in Marine barracks bombing.
Okay, well, we'll keep listening while we do that.
Time was the Marine barracks bombing. And you all probably wonder why we never responded. I wouldn't go into the long detail, but the guy that sabotaged the strike, and I'm glad you're all sitting down, was the Secretary of Defense. Not once, but twice. Reagan approved the French wanted to do a combined strike, and Reagan approved it, and Weinberger wouldn't issue the order. I have personally talked to George Shultz and Bud McFarlane. They told me they pleaded with him, and he wouldn't do it. You have to say, who the hell got to him, or what got to him? I've never been able to get an answer on that. In the Gulf Tanker War in '87, we were going to bring down the Khomeini regime. You know, and the guy that sabotaged, I had briefed Weinberger at my headquarters at Pearl Harbor that summer. And this was going to be in August of '87. And the one who undercut us the most was our own chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Crow, at the time. You know, if you go forward and you look at, you know, we shot down by accident that Iranian civilian airliner a few months later. And what did Khomeini do? He said, I'm drinking from the chalice of poison. And he said, I have to make a truce with Saddam Hussein because the Americans have shown they're coming in on Iraq's side. Well, think of what the hell we could have done had we executed the strike we wanted to do in August of '87. You know, we all say we have to identify the threat. Well, I think the one who identified it the best was Erdogan from Turkey when he said, Islam is Islam. There are no modifiers. Democracy is the train we ride to our ultimate objective. He couldn't have said it any plainer. And until you recognize that Islam is a political movement masquerading as a religion, you're never going to come to grips with it. And as far as a strategy, let me just conclude one thing. And as I just had in my latest op-ed, the Obama administration has a strategy. It's very simple. Any thinking American should be able to grasp it. It's anti-American, anti-Western, it's pro-Islamic, it's pro-Iranian, and pro-Muslim Brotherhood. And with that, I'll yield the mic.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. So it was in Beirut where that happened, and this is, by the way, in Industrial Society and Its Future, Professor Ted Kaczynski literally points out this political correctness issue before any of this. Well, just around the same time, I guess, in the early '80s. this all took place. This is the path we're headed down. And it doesn't matter to me if Islam is a political movement or religion. I don't care. You can believe in a political movement for all I care. But to protect and not allow criticism, that's the problem.
Yeah, that is the problem. It is a problem. It's the reason that this show exists, because for one thing, we don't have people telling us you can't talk about this stuff, which is the case in the mainstream media and the large newspapers.
But what's interesting is you can excoriate the Scientologists, you can excoriate Christians, you can't really excoriate Jews, I guess. Unless you're a Jew, then you can do it. But Muslims, Islam, no, it's
off limits.
Off limits, yeah. Why? Why is that? Why is that?
Well, there's a number of reasons. One, they are they're a protected minority in some ways, just generally speaking. But there's also the thing, well, you say something about a Muslims are going to throw a bomb in your window, which is like a very strange reason not to talk about it.
Well, that's where Holland
a bomb go into Bill Maher's window.
That's where Holland is now, by the way. That's the thinking. You better not say anything because they will mess you up, and this happens every day.
You saw what happened with the Denmark cartoonists.
Yes, and Charlie Hebdo
and the Hebdo people. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, they weren't criticizing; they were ridiculing to an extreme.
Doesn't matter.
No, but which you should be able to do too.
Yeah, if anyone can create a voting block and can come in through democracy and run whatever, then you need to adhere to all of the laws of the land, which means criticism and freedom of the press, without being killed for it,
or being condemned for being not politically correct, which is really the
real problem.
That's the real basis of the whole thing. Yeah. Is you're a racist.
Yeah. Yep. So we've broken that down.
I guess.
I don't know what else to do.
We said one thing that any of our listeners didn't already know.
I'm not so sure about that. Sometimes it's just good to have to spark a debate by reiterating the obvious things. And I think that this Ilhan Omar, that it's unfortunate that apparently in this case, right-wing media drew attention away from what she was really saying, which I have a real problem with. Unlike this, and she said some people did something on 9/11. Okay.
Yeah, no, I said, yeah, no.
You did it. It's okay.
I did it twice actually today. Yeah. This is the problem with the right-wing media. They are very superficial.
Yes, and actually,
in fact, the clip that you played, I've never heard before because I didn't listen to her speech. But you're exactly right. This is the problem.
Yeah,
it's also the fictitious stuff that she made up that is nonsense, including the birth date of CARE.
And that's a much stronger argument if you want to discredit someone, to say, listen, for you to stand there and in the same segment to say CARE was started after 9/11, you're either very wrong or you're lying. So what else is going on with you? I agree with you. The right-wing media goes lowest common denominator and really insults the viewing audience that they're not smart enough to take a second and comprehend what you're saying about something. So yeah, in this case, absolutely. There you go. That's the problem. Outraged right-wing media.
They do their cause no good whatsoever.
And it's getting worse. Because that's why I went to look at this. Whenever I see a clip that is played over and over again with some outrage attached to it, and it's cut off abruptly, there's no lead in, it's literally a clip in, clip out, no preamble. You have to, this is just taken out of context. It wasn't completely taken out of context, but wow, was there a lot of context there to be discussed that actually could put Ilhan Omar in her place? But no. There you go. That's why we exist. Thank you. I feel better now. Thanks. The segment made sense. We can round it up. Good.
Well, good for that. Which might be a good time for a break.
Well, with that, then, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in CARE, John C. Dvorak.
In the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. In the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the days and nights out there.
In the morning to all the trolls in our troll room who have been helpful this morning and on the ball. Appreciate it. Care Bears. NoAgendaStream.com. So we have about 1,000 people every single show. That seems to be the sweet spot of number of people that can converse and help out. And you get to troll. That's why we call it the troll room. It's NoAgendaStream.com. Thanks again, trolls. And I also would like to wish a hearty in the morning to, oh yeah, there he is again, Darren O'Neill. Darren brought us the artwork for episode 1128.
Burnout Candidate.
The title of that was Tactile Nukes, which is still a classic phrase. And
Tactile Nukes.
And this was just the best one of the bunch. It was the prettiest. It had the UK, internet in the UK, save the children, locking up. This is about the new law and the acceptable content czar who will be appointed for new regulations in the United Kingdoms of Gitmo Nation. So that you don't get hurt when surfing online. You don't get upset by something you might read or see. And Darren captured that really well in this piece.
I should mention that people should appreciate this show more.
Well, that goes without saying, but why do you say that now?
I think that art is part of it, but I just think they should think about this show and compare it to what they're listening to when they turn on their radio and listen to Rush or any of them, actually. Or the worst is Ben Shapiro.
You can actually often hear them taking our exact topics from two days before.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's coincidence. But,
let's thank a few executive producers and associate executive producers, starting with Sir Gator in Spartanburg, South Carolina, of $333.33. Whoops. Sir Gator. Hey, Rick and Morty. Fellows, because of you two, I have found that Sundays and Thursdays revolve around making sure a schedule is cleared for 3 hours to listen to the best podcast in the universe. I know how or when this happened.
Oh.
I just know it's not. I don't know how or when it happened. I just know it's now a regular routine to have multiple devices broadcasting the No Agenda around the house, piped in the backyard when necessary. Neighbors be damned.
Hello, neighbors.
Although this donation of threes would catapult me to baronet status, my smoking hot wife, Amy, has always been a huge fan of the show and should now have be given the title Little Dame of the what?
I see Dame of Thrones. Where do you say little? She now have the title,
not little, title.
Wow.
Title Dame of the Thrones. Yeah, John, you and I were cut loose from our jobs for the same day last year. I was axed after 18 years with a camera company that you know very well. Yes, it is yellow.
A camera company that's yellow?
I'm trying to get this. Yes, it is yellow. I would ask for some job karma. Please throw in a mac and cheese, and that's true. He wants job karma because he contemplates returning to the workforce, and he's looking for some
jobs karma.
Jobs karma.
Yes.
Anyway, let's finish. Those of you not donating but still listening to the unparalleled news deconstruction that's the No Agenda show, shame on you.
Kodak.
There's a special place in hell for you.
Kodak belongs there too, apparently.
Oh, Kodak.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Kodak. Yeah, yellow is a very strong color with that.
You slaves can get used to mac and cheese. Cheap macaroni and cheap cheddar melted together.
Mac and cheese.
That's true. Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
There you go.
Sir Philip Paladin of the Common Sense in Switzerland.
Ah.
He's just outside of Zurich. He's in a little town called, I think it's called Winterhafen?
Winterhafen?
No, it's Lohausen. It just looks like W-I-N-K, and then looks like an R-T-H-U-R. Nearby Zurich. Anyway.
Okay.
He has sent a big giant package comes in the mailbox.
Oh.
And from Switzerland. I'm thinking, this is interesting. And it might be cheese.
I'm thinking, might be money, might be gold. No,
it's
John Cheese.
Burlington Zephyr book.
Oh, that's great. That's nice.
He says, John, I saw this book at the flea market some time ago and immediately thought of you. Who would have thought that one would find such a book in the small cellar of the local model railroad club in Winterthur or Winker? Again, I can't quite read this. It's near Zurich. To you both, this is my first donation since the Fletcher test. Therefore, I would like to request a de-douching.
Okay.
You've been de-douched.
Your work is extremely valuable because you have an unobstructed view on the never-ending media bullshit, and your work always reminds me that the most important thing lies behind the curtain. Unfortunately, most people do not share the desire to understand anymore, especially Hillary Obama bots, because their fuses blow quite quickly. I hope at least one of you will someday make it to Switzerland for a meetup.
Hey, there's a meetup on the 27th, April 27th.
Yeah, but we're not going to it.
No, I know. But is he going there? Does he know?
I don't know.
Oh, just
go to noagendameetups.com at Sir Philip and see if there's you can go to the Zurich meetup. You're nearby. It's right across the street. He would like the title changed to Sir Philip is Art.
Okay, is that
it's
on the list?
You. If you want to read it on the show, he doesn't care if you do it today or wherever. Title change to Sir Philip is Art.
Okay, hold on a second. So title change, because it wasn't on the list.
Why would it be on the list? I'm reading it.
Hey, you don't have to get all pissy with me. I just said it's not on the list. I mean, I don't know. Don't you give that to Eric and say, put this on the list?
No.
Oh, sorry. What does he want? What does he want to be? What's his title?
Sir Philip is Art.
Okay.
You know, it's set the way he's written it. It's almost as though it's like is art is one word and to Sir Philip is Art. Yeah, you will go with that.
Okay. But he's that's just a title change? Doesn't he become a baron or something? Or
no, he just wants to change his name. He was paladin of the common sense.
Okay. I shall change the title. Nice,
okay,
nice
anyway,
lip
I want to
smack.
thank him for the book. It's dynamite. The conversation starter at the dinner table. Sir Luke. Oh, I'm sorry. Onward to the associate executive producers. We're starting with Sir Luke Rayner, 271.28. Greetings, gentlemen. This donation will make me a Viscount. I may be mistaken, but I think I'm the highest ranking member of the No Agenda aristocracy in the UK.
It could be.
It's possible.
NoAgendaHR.com.
It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Viscount's pretty high. I'm surprised you haven't got any dukes. In a way, this saddens me, as I really am a man of modest income. I'm sure there are UK producers who have access to far vaster funds than me, and I'm calling them out to step up. Do they want a lowly plebeian like myself lording it over them? While I await to be usurped, I would like to extend my realm to the southeast of England, from now on being known as Sir Luke Rayner, the Viscount of London and the Southeast. The No Agenda Show is one of the most valuable resources out there, and I look forward to many more years. I'd like a business karma and a now entering second half of show jingle?
Okay, we can do that.
Okay, well, keep up the great work.
Now entering second half of show.
You've got karma.
Business karma, no less.
So am I looking at now I've got one of these situations where the spreadsheet's overflowing. And well, let me see if I can get the name up. So we got Patrick Daly,
yes,
from Rochester.
Yes.
And he is donating $242.42. Now, you have to tell me if I'm reading from the right note because it's all this yellow. Dear Benny and Jackie.
Yes, that's the right note.
Hill and Wright, not Kudez and Chan. Okay, not sure. There's some reference that somebody gets. I'm not one of them. Forgive me, Podfathers, for I have douched. I've been a subscriber. He's a douche somehow. Well, then shower, then towel off, my friend. I've been a subscriber to the No Agenda feed since the day that Planet Dvorak something told me where I could find more JCD. I have been a subscriber since the early teens, but I have been a listener since episode 00001. Wow. It's actually episode 1. The 000 stuff is Andy Ihnatko's numbering scheme. I came for John. I stayed for you both. I was one of the first to buy a podcast license, the hackerpublicradio.org, and a mothership boarding pass for myself. And I treasure the memory of meeting Adam on the original Hot Pockets tour, 2008 tour of 2012.
Right on.
I remember people go, 2008. Well, OG envelope donor, by the way. Thus my douche is made all the worse because I fell victim to the lie that only large donations matter. And for some time, I did not donate for lack of disposable hundos. Adam.
Yeah.
You yourself called me out on episode 570 back in 2013. Long memory.
Wow.
I wrote you a letter thanking you for covering Common Core. By the way, that's something we need to talk more about, in which I apologize for not attaching a donation. At the time, I was paying child support on 2 kids and sending a third to a private school. You called bullshit on me saying, really? Sending your kid to a private school and you don't have $5?
Did I say
you doing that? Yeah.
No, I can see the exact opposite, but okay. I might have been in a different headspace.
I think it was good.
Really?
Really? And he says, damn it, you were right. He says, you were right. And you were so right that you didn't even play the douchebag jingle, even though you should have. I immediately became a $5 a month subscriber, then a $20 a month subscriber. When my situation improved as of April 6, 2019, I can account for $990 in donations.
Oh, there you go.
April 4. Sorry?
No, it's fantastic. I see what he did. He went on the program, and now he's becoming a knight. This is fantastic.
Yeah, this is what we want. This is what we want people to do. Today, April, and probably because you called him out. Today, April 14, 2019, is my 42nd. And there's nothing wrong with doing that, by the way. It's 42nd birthday. Never had a birthday shout out of any kind. It would be a great honor if my first one came from the two of you.
Of course.
42 has always been a special number to me. It's
the answer to everything in the universe, so yeah.
So it's only fitting that on the 42nd day of March with the donation of 242.42, I should gift myself a knighthood.
Wait a minute. 40.
I would like to be known.
So wait. 42nd day of March, what does that mean? I think he means 42nd day of 2019. That would make more sense.
It's not. Every month's got this. We're 3 months into it. It'd have to be 90 something.
So I don't. Yeah, you're right. So why is it 40? I don't know. This is weird. Okay,
it's a mystery.
Yes, it is. The 42nd day of March.
He wants to be knighted. Sir Pokey, first knight of the 42. Please de-douche me at long last.
You've been de-douched.
To commemorate the founding of the 42, I'm upping my donation to $33.33 a month because someday I'd like to be the first baron of the 42 as well. The downside is that a knight of the 42, my protectorate will be life, the universe, and everything, which is one hell of a responsibility when you think about it, and I'm going to need some help. So come on, all you douchebags, subscribe to a monthly donation and douche no more. If I can do it, so can you. You've already got it. And on to page 10.
Well, he's very excited because he's been doing this for a long time. So I grant him a lot of leeway in this.
So you already got everything on the night table that I could ever want, but I'm happy to bring some homemade beef jerky or homemade lip balm. If anyone is interested.
I'll add it to the table for today. Homemade beef jerky and homemade lip balm?
Yeah, what is that made out of? Anyway, lastly, could you please play the original ant burning song for me at the end of the show? It's the one that goes ch 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 ch, not the one that goes womp 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 womp.
Well, let me see. Maybe is this Wait, how does that first one go, John? Just so I got it.
Ch ch ch
that it?
There's an ant that you do not torch, and that's an ant that's carrying one of the dead.
Is that the one he means?
I guess.
Well, then I'll play that at the end of the show. Because the other one, I'm just trying to get, I don't want to do the wrong thing. So the other one that starts like this is usually the fan favorite. I'm not sure if this is the chapomp womp womp womp.
I got ants.
I think that's what he means. Yeah, that's womp womp womp.
That's the one he wants, or he wants to check?
No, he wants the other one. This is the one.
Yeah, okay. All right, okay, got it. We're settled.
And he finishes with, "May producers always outspend your exit strategies."
You better hurry. Our exit strategies are getting better every day. We're going to hit gold one of these days. We'll hit gold.
So I guess we could throw karma his way.
Yeah, of course we can. Are you kidding me? Looking forward to your ceremony.
You've got karma.
Sir Pokey, first night of the 42.
The birthday boy, Dan Williams, comes in at $240.17 from Missoula, Montana. Beautiful location. I'm donating $240.17 since I turned 40 on the 17th this week. Additionally, I was looking at Audible recently and saw that the Washington Post has a pre-order available for the audio version of the Mueller report. They want $25 for it. Well, screw the WAPO, because this is a perfect opportunity to put value for value model to work. Having it available via audio is a great idea, but it should be accessible for everyone, free. As a fellow podcaster and a proud supporter of the model you've created, I'm taking on WAPO, and I'm going to make the Mueller report audio available for free.
Well, hold on.
If anyone would like to support this effort, visit my Indiegogo page at MuellerReportAudio.com.
Hold on a second. Let me understand.
Not quite free if you have to.
No, but I'm going to Mueller Report. What is it?
MuellerReportAudio.com.
Audio. I just want to understand something. Okay, so I'm not getting anything here. Okay, I need to add an E. Is he taking the audio that is then apparently being read by...
No, he's going to read it.
He's going to read the report. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I think that's what he's doing, because he can't do the other thing because it would be illegal.
Let me see.
But he could read the Mueller report himself instead of taking the WAPO. I'm sure his read will be better than the WAPO.
It's definitely. Hold on, let's see.
He's a podcaster.
Let me see. Do I have I don't have a... Is there a way to output that in the doc? Yes, here we go. Let me see. I can bring this into the board, I think. Hold on. Here we go.
Election is expected to be released. In the meantime, until the final report is available, we will provide the audio from documents surrounding the report.
I love the kind of nasal sound.
We will be providing this information without ad interruption and produce an audio version of the report free of charge for anyone wishing to listen. If you find value in these audio productions,
yes,
we ask that you donate any amount based on the value you receive.
Very good.
Visit MuellerReportAudio.com.
Great idea. That's fantastic.
Yeah, congratulations, Dan.
And I totally agree. Screw Audible, which is Amazon. Screw them with that. Very good.
And the WAPO is involved. Gee, no conflict of interest there. WAPO, Amazon. Come on. Before you bring him out, he needs a virtual no agenda hat so he can wear it while I read the report and edit the audio. Also, for those who like speeding up the audio to 2x, it will not be discouraged.
Okay, here we go. Here's your hat. I'm putting it on the drone, and it's off to you. Here it comes.
You've got karma.
I have to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Don't you think the drone is worth more than the hat itself? I mean, people are just going to want to steal drones.
Yeah, but if someone...
Can't you just put it in the mail or UPS it? I'm just asking because it seems like a costly endeavor.
What would the fun sound effect of putting it in the mail be? Because I'm definitely not mailing out hats to anybody.
Dodge Gas Skills next on the list, $234.56. Donation from my wife, Misty, towards her dameness. She has recently proudly hit someone in the mouth and turned them onto the show. Oh. Can Misty get an Obama, you might die, and that's true? And oh my God, that is amazing. Great work and hats off to you both. Love, Dodger and Misty.
You might die.
That's true.
Oh my God, that is
You've got karma.
Cool combo. I like it.
It's a good combo.
Good combo.
Meanwhile, Dame Nancy
of New Jersey.
She's from New Jersey. Last year, I made a donation and requested travel karma just before my husband and I went on a cross-country trip. Well, it worked. We had a great trip, and we had several near disasters, which we managed to avoid. Also, the Eagles won the Super Bowl during that trip, which means that my husband benefited from the karma too. So we are now getting ready to set out on our second cross-country trip, and I can't do that without asking for travel karma again. I am also due for a title change since my monthly donation has brought me to the next level, accounting to below. Thanks for all you do. I don't know where I'd be without my perspective that the No Agenda gives. Love you guys and the whole No Agenda family. Dame Nancy of New Jersey. Well, what is she going to be, a baronetess?
Oh, let me take a look at my crib sheet. She will be. Where's it? Donations. Clickety clock. She is going to be.
Is she on there?
Yeah, she becomes a baronetess.
Okay.
Baronetess, yes.
Always be, when you send these notes and try to, you might want to mention stuff.
So a question for our good dame from New Jersey. Are you coming across Texas if you're going coast to coast? I used to live in Jersey. We could have a lunch or something if you're passing through Texas.
I'd go up to Canada.
Okay. Alrighty then. Thanks.
Onward. Sir Dirtbag Dave, $200. He's from parts unknown, apparently. The show's been great as of late, and unfortunately, I've slipped on my quarterly donation of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We just welcomed the newest baby dirtbag into the family and have been all too busy as first-time parents, as millennials, no less.
All right. Congratulations. The dirtbags have a new human dirtbag.
New dirtbag.
Baby dirtbag.
New dirtbag in business.
In residence.
So please send me some new human resource karma over for Claire, born on 4/9, and for her mother, Stephanie, who is a terrific first-time mom and an avid avoider of the show.
Well done, Mom. Congratulations. Welcome, new dirtbag.
You've got karma.
The only dirtbag is the mom.
An avid avoider.
DJ Fuji of Jersey City, another Jerseyite. 200. This donation comes from DJ. ITM gents, I'd like to wish a very happy birthday to my dear friend Sir Super Steve, who just celebrated his 40th revolution around the sun. Also, a big shout out to Sir Smokes a Lot. Can I get a Jobs karma? The message is clear, and that's true.
Yeah, I think we can do that.
The message is clear. The message is clear.
That's true. Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
And that concludes our list of executive and associate executive producers for show 1129, I think is what we're at.
Yes, 1129.
I had a real scare doing I was producing the show.
Yeah.
This never happened to me in Windows before. So I am, why don't you close the segment out and I'll tell you my story.
No, I'm riveted. I'm at the edge of my seat now, real scared. No one scares Dvorak.
So I'm producing these clips. I got them almost all produced except one. I go to save it after I've edited it, and then instead of the normal folder that comes up on the save side, the folder's not there.
Okay.
And so I look, and folder 1129 is not there. All the files are gone.
Including the folder.
I hit like Control Y, or I just hit a couple of keys earlier.
Well, this is where I'd start with my investigation. When someone says, I hit a weird key combo and then something went wrong. Okay,
so now I hit the weird key combo. I said, oh, my God. And so I started looking around. I couldn't find search for 1129. I did everything I could to maybe it's some, got moved to another folder. That happens where accidentally pick up a folder and drop it in another folder and it's stuck in there.
Yeah.
So I said, that's not it. Oh, I bet you something happened. Something bad happened. So I go to the trash can. I said, well, I'll just retrieve it from there and I'll put it back on the screen. No problem. It's not in there.
Oh.
So now I'm really freaked. And so I say, okay, let me think of some. So I've decided to do a search on one of the file names that I remembered. And as you know, because you have to look at these names, it's almost impossible to remember the name of these files because I misspell everything.
Yeah, so it's not a...
But I do know starpbs.mp3 will show up with something. So I decided to do a whole disk search for this. That's fast enough. I got a
Yeah. All right.
So it goes and boom, it starts finding these things. Boom, boom, another one. So well, they're here. The files are still alive. They're alive. And so I can't. It doesn't show me in the bar where they are. And so I go to properties at the bottom, click on properties, and then go at the bottom. You can see what folders, and they're all in folder 2. And what folder 2 was the initial name when I created a new folder for the desktop of Clips 1129. It reverted the Clips 1129 folder name
I know
to
what happened.
the original.
Right. Okay. I can tell you what happened. You somehow did a Control Z in the File Explorer, and that's when it reverted, because it will remember your undos per application, and your file management system does the same. So that's how that happened. It wasn't a Control Y, it was a Control Z that you did.
Could be.
I think so. Wow, that was riveting. I'm glad we...
Well, believe me, my heart was a pounding. It was just all... Here's what I'm thinking to myself. I've lost all these clips. I have to go re-download the shows and whatever to get the clips back, to try to at least put some of them back into the show. And then I have to get up early in the morning. And that's the part that really had, because I've changed my style. I don't get up early in the morning to do the show anymore. I get up just before the show. Yes. And I didn't want to have to deal with that.
Well, John, again, thank you.
Oh my God, that is amazing!
Thank you, everybody. That's our donations. Please go out and propagate.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
You might die. That's true.
Shut up, Slade.
And I'm remiss in telling everyone that these credits that we just handed out to our execs and associate executive producers are very real, valuable credits, certainly when they're recognized by people in industries. You are a producer. The entire show is a network of producers. You know, who was I telling this to the other day? Well, first let me remind you where you can support the show, because we do need your support for every single program, and that's why it's so highly appreciated.
Dvorak.org/NA.
I was reading something about the decentralization of media. Oh, man, I wish I'd saved this. Maybe I can't remember where it was. And I thought, this is really what is happening. Is you see, everything is fragmenting, and you get to a point, maybe I was thinking about Netflix. Netflix and Amazon, they're really losing money on those services. Netflix is proven they're not making money. You can go look at their financials, and they have to keep taking on money and raising money, and they spend it at a truly, I would say, an awesome rate. I don't use that word lightly, because they have to hire production and make it happen. And our model is not just a, hey, please support this show. If someone said, how many producers do you have on your show? The answer is actually not 0. The answer is not 2. The answer is thousands. And, where Netflix will say, well, we use all these, machine learning and very deep analysis, so we know exactly what kind of shows people want. In the No Agenda show, you actually are producing the show, not just the money. You're giving us clips, ideas, insight. I could never neither of us could do what we do without you. Well, John, I think you could, because you have.
No, we get too much material over the transom.
Yes.
That comes in that is just, that's an eye-opener. Even when I'm writing, take other people's ideas that are suggested, or people have a suggestion. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Yeah, I pay attention, and we pay so much attention on this show that we actually read a lot of these notes, and I have a couple to read today when we.
When other media people start to figure this out, they'll be successful. Once you understand that it is not about what you want, it's what about your audience wants, and you actually let the audience do that and turn them into producers. We don't refer to you as listeners. People say, how many listeners do you have? I don't know, but I got thousands of producers, so blow me. And that's why we're so appreciative, and that's why this program works. And don't think that you're unimportant. Every single idea is important. Every single piece that comes in. And it's I'm proud of what we're doing. I'm proud of you. And you too, John.
Well, thanks.
Hey, I don't take this postmodern art form that we're doing lightly. This is the only legacy I'm going to have. I mean, you may have a little bit, I don't want to.
Well, you actually don't even know that you've been postmodern since you started off as a VJ, which is ludicrous.
VJ.
A VJJ. You started off.
I know. I got some interesting. Oh, I was watching Bill Maher. I need to play this. So, people, I call myself the crackpot, you're the buzzkill, but any new person or even if when noagendasocial.com just appeared on the Fediverse, people are like, conspiracy theorist. I mean, that's an easy one, right? The conspiracy theorist. And Bill Maher had Seth Abramson on as his first interview of the day. And he's been around. I think he's currently a columnist for Newsweek. And he wrote a book, something like, In Plain Sight, Trump Colluded, Trump's an Asshole. So I think that's the title of the book. But he sat down, and when I listened to what they were talking about, I'm like, oh my God, this is a really fantastic phrase this guy has invented. He's a conspiracy theorist, but he explains it in a different way with a setup from Bill, of course.
I want to just talk about your technique because I think it's very exciting when there's a new literary event. And I would say what you do is that. I mean, you're what is the word you use? A curatologist or a curatology or?
Curatorial journalist.
I can't get that.
Curatorial journalist, John.
What does that even mean? He goes through curations?
Oh, no. Listen.
Develops stories?
No. Yeah.
Yes. He's a hoarder.
No. He's a conspiracy theorist, only he's calling himself a curatorial journalist. This is our new title. Listen.
Curatorial journalist.
I can't get that. But I get close. And what you really do is put out a long Twitter feed. I've read it. And it's interesting because it's like watching someone write a book in real time. You don't mind if people see that you make mistakes. You erase stuff. You amend stuff. You edit stuff. So is this like the new version of what we went through in maybe the 70s when there was the new journalism, when they were mixing fact and fiction? You think this is as big a change?
Well, I think it's definitely new. We're in the digital age now, and what we find is not that there isn't enough quality journalism, but that there's actually so much of it that a lot of it falls through the cracks. It gets published, read once, and then forgotten. So what a curatorial journalist does is they look back decades across media that's being published across different continents, and they see stories that are lost and how they connect with one another and how they might be important now but weren't realized as important at the time.
You connect the dots.
Exactly.
You're the guy at the evidence wall.
Essentially, yeah.
With the red tape.
And they literally showed a picture of Trump with all these other pictures with red yarn connecting the dots. This guy has created a new term for conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he's done.
That's fantastic.
Curatorial.
What do you do? I'm a curatorial journalist, also known as podcaster.
Yeah, podcaster.
Basically, he's a podcaster. And then Bill Maher did something that really showed where his head is at and just how he views the world. He was trying to make the point that, because this guy's book is about how Trump is colluding in plain sight. And Bill Maher's he said, Russia, if you find the emails. So that is colluding with Russia in plain sight. So what Bill Maher did is he said, we took some public statements from Trump and we made it sound like the Watergate tapes, which is basically just really crappy sound. It sound, you remember the Watergate tapes, Nixon.
Yeah, it was like skimmers.
Right. And while this is playing, the overlay on the screen is a reel-to-reel tape recorder, just like the days from Watergate with the Watergate tapes. And they've taken all these quotes from Trump and edited them together from completely different scenarios, situations, different speeches, and then says, well, listen to the segment.
Well, he's colluding in plain sight.
I'm glad you said that. I've said that myself for a long time. So we did something tonight to illustrate this. Now, the comparison, of course, is always to Nixon. Right. But Nixon tried everything he could to keep it secret. As you say, right. Trump does the exact opposite. He does it in plain sight. I think this is the genius to his getting away with everything. I don't think he knows he's doing it. I think it's because he's a narcissist. But this is the effect of it. So what we did was we took some of the things that Trump has said, again, in broad daylight, we put them on a tape, just like he did with the Nixon tapes. Now imagine if you were hearing this for the first time in this way, where we just got this. Imagine that Donald Trump was surreptitiously taped and you heard it this way.
President Putin was extremely strong and powerful in his denial today. I was going to fire coming. And in fact, when I decided to just do it, I said to myself, I said, this Russia thing with Trump and Russia is a made-up story. President Putin, he just said it's not Russia. I will say this, I don't see any reason why it would be.
Now, if people had heard that...
It would have been better if it was audible.
Wouldn't we say, that's the smoking gun?
They actually had to have subtitles underneath it. The audio was so stupidly bad. I mean, this is delusional.
It is delusional.
I was just like, whoa, man, what are you doing? I can
assure you it was his idea.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was just stupid. And I don't know. It's nuts. Sad that people are like that.
That takes up for my little thing.
What?
Let me read this note from anonymous guy. You mentioned, this is a good bit, and this actually applies to everything we do on our show. You mentioned local news regarding the measles rubella outbreak in Detroit, and I thought this additional info might be valuable. My wife used to be a local TV news reporter.
Yes, is a good note.
Yes, you have it too. And worked at multiple stations. She got fed up with the abysmal treatment of people in the local TV news industry as a whole. So that's something he can expand upon later.
Yes.
I want to hear the stories.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do. She left her job and got into PR. This note isn't about the abuse, but I can go into detail later. When she was a reporter, she was often actively discouraged from seeking out new story ideas. She was regularly handed a copy of the local newspaper for the day and told to cover something from it. The local TV, by the way, I know for a fact that this is done on most stations.
Oh, listen.
It's usually the New York Times they give them.
And by the way, every single bad morning radio show, they do something called show prep, which means they sit a guy down. Well, it used to be at Z100, Coach Mike would literally snip the front page and paste it onto A4 pieces of paper, and that was show prep. It's just reading from the newspapers.
Yeah. She said the local TV news station, the paper owned by the same people. There were a few times when her story was rejected because it put a bad light on friends of the station. Or her story was alerted by a producer deliberately having false information added to the more flashy. She pushed back against this to make the story more flashy. She has dozens of stories like this. Now that she's in PR, she has to get earned media for her organization. There have been multiple instances where she has literally shot and wrote stories for reporters, and they put it on TV later that day almost exactly how she set it up.
That's what it is. Today's PR organizations are producing your news.
Yes. All that is to say, good reporters are often being stopped from reporting real news, while bad reporters are saying literally what they are told to say. Who knows who knows who's in Detroit pulling shenanigans like this? Yeah, well, that's what we pointed out when we did that clip in the last show, when it seemed as though it was
just a
piece put together
away.
when the local reporter jumped in. They've screwed it up.
Yep. Exactly.
So that's what we're dealing with here.
And maybe this would be a good segue into an explanation of how the M5M printed press works with the intelligence community, as this was explained once again in broad daylight, clear as day, by James Clapper, the former director of national intelligence. He was on CNN. This is the conversation here was the difference between Julian Assange and WikiLeaks as a journalistic organization and real journalistic organizations. There's a difference. Do you know what the difference is between WikiLeaks as a journalistic endeavor and the New York Times or Washington Post?
Yeah, one is run by the CIA.
I do think that Jeffrey Toobin, I think, as always, articulated the complexities of this case. And there is the, freedom of the press aspect. I personally, and this is a personal opinion, not a legal opinion, think I'm in my Pompeo school that WikiLeaks is really a non-nation state hostile intelligence service. But I'm saying that as an intel guy and having lived through the grief that those revelations caused. There is the comparison between WikiLeaks and the likes of, say, the New York Times or the Washington Post.
That's what WikiLeaks is making. I mean, they want to make that comparison.
I recognize that. I will just point out one subtle difference from a practical standpoint is that when the New York Times, the likes of the New York Times or the Washington Post or any of the responsible media came into possession of classified material, typically, not always, but typically, they would at least give us, the intelligence community, the opportunity to comment and make the case for not publishing something. Now, I will say also that their definition of what is harmful to national security and my definition of what's harmful to national security were not exactly congruent.
Look, these are conversations.
The important difference here, Allison, is that at least we had the opportunity to make our case. And if someone's life was potentially at risk, responsible media would not publish that.
Oh, responsible media. You're right. One is run by the CIA and checks in with home base to see if everything's okay. Can we publish this? Is it okay? You sure it's okay? I don't want to hurt anybody. Yep.
So we have, I have my one Assange clip since we brought it up.
Oh, good.
This is a PBS report on Assange, and I thought there was an odd angle here.
Okay, let's see what it is.
Fight over extradition for WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has intensified. Assange was arrested yesterday in London on U.S. charges of conspiring to break into a Pentagon computer. Today, Britain's opposition Labour Party urged its government not to extradite him to the U.S. On Twitter, Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn said Assange is being targeted for, quote, exposing evidence of U.S. atrocities in Iraq and Afghanistan. His party spokeswoman for domestic affairs echoed those concerns before Parliament.
It is this whistleblowing activity into illegal wars, mass murder, murder of civilians and corruption on a grand scale that has put Julian Assange in the crosshairs of the US administration.
Assange had lived in Ecuador's embassy in London since 2012 until the country revoked his asylum yesterday.
Okay.
Well, a couple of things. One, the woman speaking on behalf of Corbyn goes on about this being a target of this administration. Mm-hmm. He ran into the Ecuadorian embassy in 2012. This had nothing to do with Trump.
No, but you make the news if you can tie Trump into it.
Yeah.
You'll get on the news.
So they tie Trump into something that Trump's got nothing to do with. And then, of course, Sessions is the one who put this thing together, which is, kind of...
You mean the 2018 indictment for possibly attempting to hack into a defense computer?
The hacking.
Yeah. Well, it's attempt. It's an attempt. It's not even proven. It's just an attempt.
Yeah, which is weak. Now, the thing is that a couple of things I note is that, for one thing, the discussion that you just played with Clapper and whoever, and talking about Toobin. This particular indictment's got nothing to do with whether or not Julian Assange is a journalist. It has to do with hacking a government computer.
Yes.
So it's like, why are we even discussing that? Let's discuss that when it's discussable.
Yeah.
And it's also a pretty weak case, which makes you wonder if they're just trying to get him out of the country so they can shoot him. I think there's an assassination attempt coming up on this guy.
Well, so there's a number of things at play here. One, I don't know if you had a clip, you wrote about it in the newsletter. Trump all of a sudden is like, WikiLeaks is not my deal. I don't know about WikiLeaks. This is, of course, ludicrous because, yeah, we know exactly you knew what WikiLeaks was, but I think he's saying something different. It is namely Mike Pence who's been involved in not WikiLeaks, but in the Chevron case, multi-billion-dollar case with Ecuador. He was there just like a month ago. He was in Ecuador, I think.
Yeah, well, let's back up on this story. Was it Chevron? I don't remember.
Yes, it's $8 billion, and it's. I have the story here somewhere.
What happened was they were doing some exploratory drilling, and I guess they found some wells or something.
Well, they ruined the Amazon. It was about the Amazon rainforest.
Yeah, it's in the Amazon rainforest. They were digging around.
It's from '93. This is a case from 1993. So how long has it been going on?
And the Ecuadorians have been bitching about this ever since.
Yeah.
Because no one came to clean up the mess.
Yeah.
That's all it is. You made a mess, clean it up.
Yeah.
They refused to clean it up. They said, you're a bunch of dumb screw-ups from Ecuador. We're not going to do what you want us to do. We're out of here. And so they left a mess. And This has been a bone of contention ever since.
So I think that's what Trump meant when he was saying that's not my deal. But also, in addition to that, the one thing Julian Assange has said he can prove is who he got the emails from Podesta and the DNC, where they came from. He says
that's why they may be an assassination attempt. This information cannot get out
because that will definitively ruin every last hope there is of some Russian collusion Trump connection.
Yeah.
That's the last one. That's why Roger Stone is still waiting for sentencing.
And he's got a gag order on him.
Yeah. Was there advance notice of the Trumps about the emails? And of course, it was literally 1 hour after the Grab 'em by the Pussy tape came out that the emails dropped. Let me just use the vernacular. They dropped. WikiLeaks dropped those emails. They dropped them. So, assassination attempt, yes, or definitive proof. I mean, if you can get the guy in the right situation where he can speak a free mind, he has stated before, I can prove who did not give it to me. I don't know how you prove the negative. Julian would be one of the first to be able to do that successmesually.
He's probably worried sick that he's going to get killed.
And he may very well get killed. But man, there's a lot of I mean, what a conundrum, you know? It's just a conundrum when you think about how the press is handling the situation, how...
the press is shameful, and then you have all these guys like Lindsey Graham who thinks he's a traitor and should be hung.
Yeah.
Who's the guy, encouraging the assassination. This is a bad situation.
And I just want to remind everybody that, what then Bradley, now Chelsea Manning, what was given to WikiLeaks, besides all these diplomatic cables, which, were they really very interesting? Now, you could build a story around them, and oh boy, I'm so shocked. But the helicopter gunships kind of indiscriminately murdering people and laughing about it and waiting for the double tap, and that was disgusting.
Yeah, totally.
And the outrage should be about what we were doing, our guys and gals were doing. It was really...
Well, that's what I think Corbyn and his mouthpiece were trying to say, because they were discussing that.
People don't even remember it, John. They don't even remember. The amygdalas are in the way. So, and then, there's so much confusion between people because they still think about WikiLeaks and how's that in combination with Snowden, which really wasn't so much WikiLeaks at all. It was more New York Times and Washington Post and The Guardian who were publishing the Snowden stuff. So, people will easily say WikiLeaks published Hillary's emails. No, it was the DNC. But there's a missing link. There is a person or someone, there's connection that has not surfaced, and that's probably what Mueller had to go and hide to make that bad news. Maybe it's the Seth Rich thing. I don't know. Something had to be hidden to go away. Mop up. I got an email from a spook. He says, I'm a spook who also catches other spooks. Which I thought was pretty good.
A spook catcher.
Spook catcher.
A spooky spook catcher.
Spook catcher. Anyway, the whole spying thing, which we have I think you have it too, the funny Comey.
Oh, Comey. Yeah, this is unfortunately, I'd like to get the bigger clip.
Yeah, I couldn't find it either. I was looking everywhere. It's like, I want to hear what he says right after that. I'll play.
They cut it off, typically, which is what I don't like, which is you bitched about earlier in the show, and I'm all in on that. It's bad.
And it's also, the clip itself is edited by CNN. And I couldn't find it on CNN's I couldn't find any video from this conference. So here it is.
With respect to Barr's comments, I really don't know what he's talking about. When he talks about spying on the campaign, it's concerning because the FBI and the Department of Justice conduct court-ordered electronic surveillance. I have never thought of that as spying.
So let's unpacking that for a second. I love how we went from you need to obtain a warrant to spy on someone to, well, the court ordered us to spy. It's very different. It's the same thing, only it's just making it look like, oh, the court ordered us to do electronic surveillance.
The court ordered
now
you.
There's something else going on.
Nobody requested it.
Well, so here's the real problem. Remember we were talking about Barr mentioning the rules after Vietnam and how this had changed and how there's certain things that could constitute illegal spying. And we were talking about what changes were those.
Yeah, and Barr kept using the word illegal.
So yes, and so the spook who catches spooks said, this is about Section 15 of Executive Order 12333. And we've spoken about 1233 a lot. I think it was signed into law in 81. And this is what forbids the CIA specifically from assassinating people, assassinating leaders. Hey, guys, it's 1981. Stop killing people. And the second one, no spying on American citizens. And I believe Brennan, this being mainly a Brennan thing, I think that Brennan didn't cover his ass enough, and maybe Mueller was able to help him because the CIA did spy. And they are the ones not allowed to do that. And heads will roll. In fact, if the Attorney General could prove that the entire Mueller investigation was started with a CIA doing surveillance on any American citizen, the entire investigation can be invalidated and thrown out completely. And there's real heavy fines for doing this stuff. And people could go away for a long time. This could be why
Brennan
is so fucking nervous.
He's a nervous wreck. He's coming out. He's shaking. He's irked about this and that because he's under the gun.
Yep.
He should just shut up and get out of town.
He should, yeah.
He's making it worse on himself because they could almost have some sympathy for the guy if he wasn't such a jerk.
Well, as we say in the Netherlands, een kat in het nauw maakt rare sprongen.
Which means?
A cat driven into the corner can jump in weird ways.
Wow.
Those Dutch, huh?
That's the best one you've had so far.
Oh, thank you. Teaching people Dutch, one podcast at a time.
Now, there is I've talked about this before in the LibJoes, about they're banking on, at least my LibJoes.
Yes.
They're banking on Trump going down because of not campaign finance, but the inaugural
committee finance shenanigans.
So I'm looking at the feed, and there they are. They're all jacked up about this woman, Lulu Ramadan.
Oh.
Lulu Ramadan is a reporter just out of school, and she seems to have gone to Florida Mid-Atlantic or some school of Florida Atlantic, something like that. One of these schools in the middle of nowhere, Florida. Mm-hmm. And she works for the Palm Beach Daily or some lower-end publication, but she wants to move up. So she's been doing a lot. So she ends up on the Rachel Maddow show, and I think there's a connection there, too, between her like-minded lifestyler.
Okay. Oh,
and
you mean a member of the community?
A member of the lifestyle community. And so she comes on the Rachel show, and she sounds like maybe she's a Muslim. She seems more like a cheerleader type with her voice up.
Wait, a lesbian Muslim?
You think she's a Muslim based on her name.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got you.
And I I don't note that she's a lesbian either.
Or Muslim.
It just seems that if you do due diligence, it just kind of crops up as possible. So, but I have no idea. And so she goes on Maddow. She's talking about the story she wrote, which apparently, according to the LibJoes, is a breakthrough story.
Oh, this is it. This is the one. This is the tipping point. The walls are closing in.
The walls are closing in because
the beginning of the
I
end.
listened to her. I read the story, and the story is, I don't know if she may become a good writer but it seems like a lot of loose ends, and it doesn't really get to the point. You don't know. I don't know if Trump knew anything about it, but there's some corruption that took place at one of the galas.
There's one thing I need to ask about Lulu. Is she hot?
She is, I would call her not unattractive.
Okay. Well, that's good enough for me. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, well, there's that. Anyway, the point is that I don't get this being the key. I mean, if anything, somebody ripped off the campaign. It wasn't Trump. But let's listen to this clip.
One of the things that you mentioned in your piece is that the lead sponsor of the event was raided by the FBI just a few weeks after this event happened. First of all, is there any indication that there's any connection between that FBI raid and what happened at this mysterious Trump inaugural gala? And do we know further what that FBI raid was about?
Yeah, so that reporting was actually from Bloomberg Business Week. And, we know very little about the raid in Saipan at that Saipan casino. But we do know that a month later, some contractors who were hired by Imperial Pacific, that casino company, were arrested for harboring or hiring foreign workers illegally on tourist visas. So you can, infer that it possibly had something to do with that. But interestingly enough, these corporations and businesses that sponsored the gala, several of them benefited from a bill that Trump signed into law a year later that actually assisted them and offered more avenues for hiring foreign workers legally, which essentially allowed these businesses to avoid what we now know some of them did do and hire foreign workers illegally on tourist visas.
You're right that we don't know how these dots connect, but the dots that you've been able to spell out with this reporting and connecting it to other reporting here is we've got entities, including this raided Saipan casino firm, donating money to an entity that disappeared it. We have no idea where the money went. It definitely wasn't reported to the FEC. After that money was donated to this Trump inaugural gala, the Trump administration did take action to benefit those firms and others like them. Now nobody's accounted for that money still, and we don't have any sense that anybody's looking for it. It's just I realize it's a complicated set of facts, but when you line them up sort of chronologically in terms of who got what for what they appeared to have spent their money on, this is just it's a stunning piece.
Sounds like curatorial journalism to me.
It's just for hollow.
Yeah.
And this is what everyone's banking on. They're banking on this, I'm telling you.
But why? That is so odd.
Yeah, they really think there's something there. And I think Rachel kind of hinted at the real futility of this approach because she says, well, it seems as though nobody's even looking into this because they're not.
Exactly. Oh, man.
Update. So I got I've been listening to Pachenik.
Yeah, the man I bring to the table, now you've taken over. You're just doing clips from him.
No, I've not taken over anything, but I did get a kick out of this particular thing.
I saw this. I didn't even know about this guy until I saw the Pechenik piece.
Yeah, this is a guy who's very highly praised, and he's behind a lot of the neocon stuff, and Pechenik hates him. And so I noticed that when Pechenik hates somebody who's had a run-in with him, and after the guy dies or whatever it is, Pechenik just goes after him. And I'm reminded there was a scene in the last season of Berlin Station, which was taken off the air.
Yeah, it was probably too good.
And the guy was he's an ex-spook. This one, I did have a clip of this and we played it on the show. He says, what's this ex-spook going to do?
Oh, a podcast.
He's going to be a podcaster.
Right.
Although I think that was from Madam Secretary. It was a different guy, but it was the same kind
idea.
Of thing. This guy was a spook who decides to start doing a podcast, and he's yakking about stuff he shouldn't be yakking about, and then eventually they're worried sick that he's going to.
So you're equating Pechenik to that, to a former spook who's doing a podcast?
I'm reminded of it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not equating Pechenik to being an ex-spook that's doing a podcast.
No, he's a current spook on YouTube.
It reminds me of the ex-spooks doing his podcast.
No, I don't think he is an ex-anything.
Well, who knows?
He's a handler, and we enjoy him very much for this very reason.
I think he's fascinating because he really shoots from the hip. He brings a lot of nastiness. He's nasty. He's got a lot of nastiness in his.
I do know he's spoken about. Although it didn't ring a bell then, but during one of our phone calls, he mentioned this guy, and I think this guy. Well, let's see if you have that in the clip, and I'll tell you the story.
I have the whole thing. It's like Pechenik. Well, maybe there's something to cut out, but this is Pechenik talking about the death of a very famous diplomat character, Andy Marshall. And I think what ticked Pechenik off was the fawning obit that the Wall Street Journal gave this guy. And so Pechenik, in his normal way, has to set the record straight.
A man whom I know and you know nothing about. His name is Andrew Marshall. He was the director of the Office of Net Assessment. It all sounds very fancy, but the reason I'm bringing up because he is the father of the neocons and the implementer and strategist for 9/11, the false flag, and the man who sent our intelligence, the CIA, and our military into harm's way in Iraq. Let me talk about Andy Marshall. Andy Marshall was 97 when he died a few weeks ago, and the Wall Street Journal wrote about how great an American he was. He wrote papers on strategic warfare, and he was one of our great thinkers. Nothing could be further from the truth.
So I cut it there because this is the point. I said, "You think we should play any more of this, Adam?"
Yeah, I think we should. This is very enjoyable. It's. You're right. Even if it wasn't about spooks, it's just interesting that a guy has no qualms whatsoever at cutting down a guy who just died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Speak ill of the dead.
Heartless. And, that's what we need our spook division to be. Heartless. Yeah. Yes. I like spooks that do this. Just it's factual, ma'am. Nothing else.
I knew Andy Marshall exceedingly well. When I attended Harvard, MIT, I left and became the DAS for several administrations, as you all know. Henry Kissinger and Andy Marshall were very close. Nixon had appointed Andy Marshall, a man who never served in World War II. Let me repeat it again. He never served in World War II and refused to serve because he had a heart murmur. He could have served in the Korean War. He could have served in the Vietnam War. He could have served in any war he wanted to. But he claimed he had a heart murmur, and he was not allowed to come into the draft. I thought that was nonsense. And I told Andy this, but Andy had a propensity for creating papers that always declared that we Americans had to go to war and be number one. That's how we got to the neocons. In 1992, Andy had appointed Zalmay Khalilzad, Wolfowitz, Richard Pearl, Cheney, Bush, and Rumsfeld as the key leaders in the neoconservative movement, meaning that we, America, had to be number one, and Israel would be our co-partner, and we would be involved in wars around the world to make sure that we stabilized and unified the world. Well, you saw what happened in Iraq, you saw what happened in Vietnam, you saw what happened in Somalia, Sudan. This was all the product of Andy Marshall. I didn't like Andy Marshall, and he knew that.
You don't say. Gee, Captain Obvious. Yeah. Now he's a genesis of the neocons who have brought so much despair and death and darkness.
even if this was his, they couldn't do it. These guys were incompetent boobs. So let's play him out.
The reason I didn't like him, I found him to be slimy. I found him to be stupid. I said to him, I don't think that your papers at the Rand Corporation were anything significant. I think you were a Machiavellian individual who basically filleted everybody above him so he could get into power. How powerful he was? Exceedingly powerful, because you never heard of that office and that assessment. Let me tell you what happened. When I met him, I said to Andy, not only do I not respect you, but I'm warning you that I have monitored you since the day you left Nixon, and I have learned very well from sources and the monitoring we had on you, Andy, up to the point of 9/11 and then beyond, that you were deeply involved with the Mossad. In fact, he was so deeply involved with the Mossad, I had to deal with certain Mossad operatives and sent them to prison, and others I made sure that they never functioned again. And I warned Andy Marshall a year before 9/11, as I walked through DOD, I saw the CIA take over key positions. I saw Doug Fife being put into position, a man who had no credibility in our system, Wolfowitz, Zalmay Khalilzad, a slimy Afghan who's still right now doing our negotiations in Afghanistan, but he was the one who created the war in Afghanistan. We have John Bolton, a slimy little man who's in the White House. We have Elliot Abrams, who I almost killed, literally because he had gone against my own people in Panama and elsewhere. And then we had several others who came back. What I said to Andy was the following: you in any way harm our country or you deal with our military, you will pay heavily for that problem. In fact, what did happen is military intelligence monitored me, I monitored them. So let me quote Andrew Johnson, who said the following: disunity within America is treason. But let me quote John Wilkes Booth: sex sempus tyrannis, thus always with tyrant. A coward and a tyrant was Andy Marshall. Good night and good luck.
So how do you really feel?
You know, he's told me the Elliot Abrams story. Elliot Abrams is the guy who's currently doing the Venezuela coup. Is that the guy, Elliot Abrams?
Yeah, same guy.
Yes, he said he nearly killed him, and the reason why is Elliot Abrams had exposed several spies that Pechenik was running. I'm paraphrasing a long conversation, and these spies were nuns, and he had them killed. Andy Marshall had the nuns killed.
Really?
Yeah. See, the thing is, and I'm just looking at the troll room, and there's a large, about half the people like this Pechenik's bullshit. You can't.
Yeah, you should take a look at his bio on the Wikipedia.
You can't really deny. Yeah, you can't really deny his official credentials. No. And I think he's a gift.
It's a gift to the podcasting world.
He is. He is. Yeah,
I find it very disappointing. At least he probably doesn't care. He's just getting this stuff out.
Yeah.
But he only has about 20,000 views on any one of his little bits that he does. He does one a week or one every couple of days. Every once in a while, Andy's wife comes up, says that. It's a very funny thing to watch.
It's not his wife.
I have over 4 million views of my Barney robot singing "I love you, you love me."
Yeah, no, it's 4 million views of Barney owned by some guy. That's the video. It's not your Barney video.
It's my Barney video. It's a video of the Barney I own.
Nobody compete with Barney, man. That's unfair.
That's 4 million views, and he gets 20,000 for telling us really cool stuff.
Listen,
I by the way, you can tell the chat room, the troll room, I don't blame them for feeling this way because it's just very like, wow. It's hard to,
it's very like, wow. What did you just?
Well, I'm just saying,
lose
Pechenik
40 years.
Pechenik's stuff is so inside baseball, behind the curtain stuff that
and
is like
it's unrehearsed. It's unrehearsed. It's unscripted, and it flows right out of him. And if you sit there and because we did a special with him, we did an hour-long special show. If you listen to him and you're just Googling, Binging, Wikipediaing everything he says, all the names, all the dates, the occurrences, it's as if Wikipedia is running in his head. So I think he's the real deal. And, who the hell would even care? Would even care to say this about Andrew Marshall? Who? No one. Exactly. So he sounds pretty real to me. Just because that was so heavy, John, we need a little transition before we go into our second donation segment here.
Yeah.
Just to take a breather.
I got plenty of that. Go on.
Well, I have Maxine Waters with Steve Mnuchin. Maxine is now the chairwoman of the Financial Oversight Committee.
Oh, yeah. Is this the one I wanted to have a couple of shows ago?
Yeah, well, I have it now.
I lost it.
I have it. We'll just play a little bit. I think he's been there for a long time. Of course, it's all annoying.
3 hours.
Yeah, he said beforehand, like, I got to go. I got someone waiting. And it's just listening to Maxine and him go back and forth. It just kind of, I don't know. It's nice for the palate.
Mr. Secretary, if I may, you had indicated that you would like to have a press conference in this room following.
No, I'm going to cancel that. I don't have time for that. So I'm not
well, that's what I was going to ask you, if you would, instead of having the press conference, continue with those members who have been waiting here for so long. And I think what I thought I originally heard was 5:30 rather than 5:15. So is it possible you could give us another 15 minutes to get to these members?
I have a foreign leader waiting in my office at 5:30. Okay, I agreed to stay longer. It will be embarrassing if I keep this person waiting for a long period of time. I wasn't going to have a press conference. I was going to have a short.
Mnuchin also sounds like a total dick.
Mnuchin looks like a dick too.
Gaggle. I'm not going to do that. And I've assured you, I'm happy to come back here and answer more of your questions. I respect the committee, and we want to have a good working relationship with you. So I hope you'll understand. I'm already going to be late to my 5:30.
I do understand. We're late all the time, unfortunately. We're all pressed for time, and I do get it. However, I think I indicated early on that we would request or require that you come back at least 2 more times in the month of May. Is that something you're agreeing to?
No, Madam Chair, I find this to be, I have here every single time Jack Lew and other people came here. There's never been anybody that's been here more than 3 hours and 15 minutes. I've sat here for over 3 hours and 15 minutes. I've told you I'll come back. I just don't believe we're sitting here negotiating when I come back. We'll follow up with your office. How long would you like me to come back for next time? I've told you I'll accommodate you.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate your reminding us of the length of time other secretaries have been here. This is a new way. And it's a new day, and it's a new chair.
Okay. It's a new way, it's a new day, it's a new chair. I'll be rhyming. Woohoo!
The gavel at this point. If you wish to leave, you may.
And she throws down the gavel, which is the new ISO of the day. Just throws down the gavel.
Can you clarify that for me?
Yes, clarify. So if you wish to leave, you may.
Okay, so we're dismissed. Is that correct?
If you wish to leave, you may leave.
I don't understand what you're saying.
You're wasting your time. Don't remember you have a foreign dignitary in your office.
I would just say that the previous when the Republicans, they did not treat the Secretary of the Treasury this way. So if this is the way you want to treat me, then I'll rethink whether I voluntarily come back here to testify, which I've offered to do.
Mr. Secretary, I want you to know that no other secretary has ever told us the day before that they were going to limit their time in the way that you're doing. So if you want to use them as examples, you have acted differently than they have acted. And as I have said...
It's a new
Did
Maxine.
You get the rest of it?
Yeah, I have it here.
Play it out, because he says gravel.
To keep me here so that I don't have my important meeting and continue to grill me, then we can do that. I will cancel my meeting and I will not be back here.
I will cancel my meeting. I will not be. I'm going to run away from home.
Be very clear if that's the way you'd like to have this relationship.
Thank you. The gentleman, the secretary, has agreed to stay to hear all of the rest of the members.
Okay,
Please
so just
cancel
let's be
your
clear
meeting
to the press.
and respect our time.
I am
Who is next on the
canceling
list?
my foreign meeting. You're instructing me to stay here, and I should cancel.
No, you just made me an offer.
No, I didn't make you an offer.
You made me an offer that I accepted.
I did not make you an offer. Just let's be clear. You're instructing me. You are ordering me to stay here.
No, I'm not ordering you. I'm responding. I said you may leave anytime you want. And you said, okay, if that's what you want to do, I'll cancel my appointment and I'll stay here. So I'm responding to your request. If that's what you want to do.
That's not what I want to do. I told you.
What would you like to do?
What I've told you is I thought it was respectful that you'd let me leave at 5:15.
You are free to leave anytime you want. You may go anytime you want.
Please dismiss everybody. I believe you're supposed to take the gravel and bang it. That's
Please do not instruct me as to how I'm to conduct this committee. Please, gentle lady.
This is a bunch of scumbags.
So I think the clip that you want to ISO is you can take your gravel and bang it.
That's exactly what we want.
I want you to be queen. My love for you is almost obscene. I really hope you know what I mean. Maxine, Maxine, Maxine.
I'm gonna show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda. In the morning.
Well, this segment's going to be kind of short because we only actually had 20 donations in this.
I know. It's been kind of, well, this is also, it's tax weekend, so everyone's worried.
Tax weekend is Easter's coming up.
Wait a minute. It wasn't the Trump tax cut was not supposed to make everyone rich?
Didn't seem to do that.
Oh, okay. That's a bummer. So no refunds then, huh?
Well, I don't know. We didn't see any yet.
Yeah.
The people who do have the big dough and they got their tax returns in early, some of them did. That was months ago. But this, we got starting out with Christina Gander, $123. And this is her first donation. She should probably get a de-douching.
Okay.
You've been de-douched.
Show makes her week. Brandon Fenton, $99.99. Kurt Kubal in Wayzata, Minnesota.
He even says, he says, happy birthday to me, 415, taxes suck. Okay. There's your answer.
Nailed it, yeah. Baron Mark Tanner, 6789. Pete, he's in Whittier. Pete Federici, $59.95. He needs a jobs card. We'll put it at the end.
Yep. Christopher
Dechter, $56.78. Kevin Stanchfield in the Santa Clarita, $55.10. Double nickels on the dime. Funny, nobody had the boob donation because I had it buried in the newsletter.
Oh, I didn't find it, and I usually spot them right away. I didn't see anything. What was linked?
The picture of me with the big head.
Oh, so obvious.
Yeah, they all missed it. That was Kevin Stanchfield in Santa Clarita, and then the rest of these are $50 donors, name and location.
Wow, off the
if
cliff.
The location is listed. Yes, quickie. Yeah. John Haller in Missoula, Montana. Jonathan Riesman, parts unknown. Kevin Silverman in Severn, Maryland. Pate Snakes in Amsterdam.
Sir Pate.
Robert Kerbach in Essexville, Michigan. Jennifer Cochran in San Francisco. Happy birthday, Paul. Brandon Savoy in Port Orchard, Washington. Jason Clegg in San Diego. Dame Patricia Worthington in Miami, Florida. She's got a bigger title than that. Robert Weber in Lake Forest, California. Mark Johnson in Aurora, Colorado. Keith Yarborough in Austin, Texas.
Hey.
And last but not least, Sir David Trotsky in Joliet, Illinois. And that's our group of well-wishers and producers of show 1129.
Well, thank you all very much. It's nice to have people thinking of us and thinking in a production mode when you want to contribute. And this is a very good way to do that. We got, what was that? You okay? Okay.
That was me yawning.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bore you.
No, you weren't boring me.
All right.
I didn't get my coffee this morning. I woke up late.
Well, thanks, everybody. And also thank you to those under $50. In fact, we will be knighting one of them who was on the long layaway program with the $5 and then $20 a month. And I'm sorry?
Yeah, it's nice.
You're just murmuring.
Murmuring.
Yes, and not only do we highly appreciate it, but we want to thank you and thank everybody else who supported the program. And we'll do another one on Thursday. Please remember us for that at
Dvorak.org/NA.
Reminder about our meetups. We have the Greater Atlanta area meetup on April 20th. Also on the 20th, Portland, Oregon. On the 27th, as mentioned earlier, Zurich, Switzerland. May 2nd, Seattle, Washington. May 18th, Cincinnati, Ohio. On the 25th of May, the entire eastern North Carolina region. And on the 25th of May, Pittsburgh. Go to noagendameetups.com to find out more. And, of course, we will be looking forward to doing more meetups ourselves in this. I just have to get through April and May, through the move and the wedding. Hey, Horowitz told me that you told him you're coming to the wedding.
Who said I wasn't?
Oh, please. Don't insult me. I've known you for 12, 13 years. You're not coming to the wedding.
Okay, if that you believe that.
Well, for one, you haven't RSVP'd.
Oh, please.
We have a strict
RSVP. Throw me out?
Yeah.
Where's your RSVP?
If you don't RSVP, then you haven't made a meal choice. So then you just get whatever, you get a default, whatever's left over.
Meal choice? What is the meal choice?
Yeah, you can choose from fish or meat.
Is it rubber chicken?
No. Wow.
Is it like halibut?
No. It's salmon.
Well, tell me what it is. Is
salmon.
It famous? Is it
salmon?
Salmon. Okay, well that's out. Unless it's fresh, unless it's not farmed.
It's all very fresh. It's made by.
I mean, it's going to be fresh, but is it farmed or is it wild?
No, it's wild. Never farmed. Kidding?
It's okay. I ate too much salmon already.
Okay. Yes, you will have the ribs. There's no chicken. There's no chicken. We're not serving chicken.
Oh, is it going to be ribs like Texas style?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm all in on that.
Yeah, okay. And then you might want
definitely RSVP.
Yes. You might want to consider RSVPing.
Because I don't want the salmon.
The funny thing is, we did a tasting. This industry is pretty interesting. So you do a tasting, and then you get to, you share the dish, and you're like, And we both were like, yeah, the salmon's good, but nothing compared to the ribs.
No, not in Texas.
But the salmon is very good, and it's on a bed of quinoa.
Oh God!
It's very good.
Hopefully, it's served by an effete waiter.
You are just the worst. We're really doing this, but it's fun. Neither of us have really had a proper wedding, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
And the wedding cake, we had to go taste that. That was fun.
Oh, yeah. Who's gonna mush the cake in the other person's face?
Just so you know, we are both staunchly against that and had decided long ago.
That's what you always say before you mush the cake.
No, that's not going to happen.
Yes, that's the rules. I just looked at the way it's done. First you deny, no, we're never going to do that. And then one of you does it anyway.
No, that's not going to happen. It's lame. It's lame. No, it's not going to happen.
I'm not saying it's not lame.
That is, we decided long ago. Would you like?
You're going to get fake. You better be careful. I would say if I were you, I'd be ready to jump out of the way.
Now, just explain this to me. What is the thinking behind this mushing the cake in your partner's face? Why?
I have no idea. It's so stupid.
Where does this start? What is the genesis of this? What is the genesis of this? It's lame.
It's got to be either Three Stooges or Laurel and Hardy. I mean, there is no reason to do this.
And it's supposed to be cute, but it's not cute. It's messy.
But people take pictures. It's a photo op.
Oh, blow me. Let me even know photo ops. Go away with all that. All right.
Yeah, we expect you to get the mush then. Okay.
Jobs.
For anyone who needs it, your jobs, Karma.
Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
You know what, bitch?
It's your birthday.
Yes, we got a couple of those, and we're happy to share them with you. Here's our No Agenda birthday list for the 14th of April, 2019. Will Byer says happy birthday to his wife, Ashley Eisner Byer. Patrick Daly turns 42 today. Congratulations. Kurt Kobol celebrates tomorrow. Dan Williams will be celebrating on the 17th. He'll be turning 40 years old, 40 times around the sun. Jennifer Cochran says happy birthday, Paul. And DJ Fuji of Jersey City says happy birthday to Sir Super Steve, who turns 40 years old, and we join in by saying happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe.
Title changes, turn and face the slaves. Title changes, don't want to be a douchebag.
Title changes, too, on the books for today. As we discussed earlier, Sir Philip Paladin of the Common Sense has just gone ahead and changed his title to Sir Philip is Art. And then we have some upgrades. Sir Luke Rayner becomes Sir Luke Rayner, the Viscount of London and the Southeast. And Dame Nancy of New Jersey becomes a Baronetess for an additional $1,000 contributed to the show. Thank you very much. We appreciate it highly. And then we have one daming, one knighting. So let's get I'll get the sword here.
Yeah, I got some here.
You got that sword?
I got the long blade.
Yeah. The long. Yes, for the dame. That's perfect. Okay, there we go. Amy and Patrick Daly, both of you need to step on up here because today you are joining the round table of the No Agenda Knights and Dames, and that is thanks to your support of the No Agenda podcast, the amount of $1,000 or more. And I am very proud to pronounce to Kate the Dame of Thrones and Sir Pokey, first knight of the 42. Congratulations for you. We have Hookers and Blow, and yes, Dame of Thrones, Ren Boys and Chardonnay. We've got homemade beef jerky and lip balm. We got Early Times and BF4, diet soda and video games, fish pie and fellatio, beer and blunts, Rubenesque women and rosé, breast milk and pablum, bong hits and bourbon, sparkling cider and escorts, ginger ale, gerbils and mutton and mead. Go to noagendanation.com/rings. Welcome both of you to the round table. Eric the Shield will take your information there and send it off to you as soon as possible. Thanks again for the support. It is appreciated not just by us, but by the entire network. Hi. Yeah, for some reason I have a lot left over. Oh, we need to talk about the glitch. The glitch.
Yeah, the glitch. The Israeli moon base needed supplies. And I guess they couldn't land a thing on there.
And here's the Deutsche Welle report.
It's because the moon is hollow.
What?
The moon's hollow, and so the gravity, they can't, the calculations are...
Hey, Dvorak, get off my turf, okay? Get off my turf. Moon is mine.
Israelis held their breath, held their heads, or even called on a higher power as it became clear that something had gone wrong. National TV carried live images from inside the control room, and there the tension was palpable. When the news of the lander's crash was announced, there was solemn applause. But Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and project chiefs tried to stay positive about the outcome.
You win some, you lose some. If at first you don't succeed, you try again.
Wow, they needed a third cliche to round it out. So you win some, you lose some. If at first you don't succeed, you try again.
Stitch in time saves 9.
There you go. I would have nailed it. You're now BB's new speechwriter. So I did have two. First, there was an analysis of what happened. Because all the reporting, I couldn't even find a clip of anyone saying it. Not that I wanted to play it anymore, but every headline was glitch causes it to crash. Glitch. Like, that is so unacceptable. So I went seeking, please, can anyone tell me technically what happened? This is not just a glitch. And I had to go to Deutsche Welle to get one explanation.
So what went wrong on this mission?
It was a crash landing. It was really during the last seconds.
It was a crash landing.
Few seconds, just before the touchdown, there were only 150 meters apparently above the surface, and then Mission Control lost communication for some reason. So we don't really...
Not much better with the force. Lost communication for some reason. You might as well just say glitch, but okay.
We know what happened during those last meters, but, well, they say that maybe the main engine had a problem. We'll maybe see in further investigations. But what is clear is that the Bereshit lander wasn't very robust. As it's privately funded, it needed to be cheap. So there was no backup for communication systems or for the solar panel to keep costs low. So their big goal was to be the first nation on the moon.
This is what confused me of the Deutsche Welle. She'll say this again about Israel being the first nation on the moon.
That's odd.
Why would she make that mistake, and why would this guy not correct her twice in a row? Have a listen.
Systems or for the solar panel to keep costs low. So their big goal was to be the first nation on the moon. This dream obviously crashed, right? Even though they were so sure to make it. If you look at their Twitter feed, there was one person that tweeted, if they land on the moon successfully, they will be the first nation on the moon. And they corrected not if, but when.
Am I missing something?
They're missing something, and you're right. Why doesn't the guy say something about that? We bombed the moon once.
Yeah, that's about all. That's the only time we actually reached it. I mean, it's so obvious to me that, in 1969, we sent up some tin cans and woo, and it worked. And we had that lunar module, and we had dudes on there and a damn Jeep that roamed around and all this cool stuff. And the Israelis, yeah, it's privately funded, sure. But Elon Musk can, I guess he got them into orbit and they couldn't land. I mean, what is this? How it's just not believable anymore. Here's Space IL's general manager, Ofer Doron. That's probably a mispronunciation. In 13 seconds, he'll tell you exactly what happened.
We finished an initial look at our telemetry data. It seems that a failure in our inertial measurement unit caused a chain of events in the spacecraft avionics, which cut off the engines and caused us to lose the mission.
Failure in the inertia measurement component.
It's because of the hollow moon, man. Gravity is not the number was wrong. That's what
I agree with you there. I think that the gravity number is off because it's hollow. Thank you. Mahalo. And so it just crashed because they haven't done it successfully yet. They want to be the first nation on the moon. Someone's got to get their story straight.
Well, no one's going to do it in our time.
Well, no.
So I finally got an interesting couple of clips. Let's run the interesting clips now. The guy that was taking the test for the students, he was arraigned, and I guess he's going to go to jail.
This is in the college
school,
the admission scandal. Yes, he was doing taking the SAT.
Admission scandal. I want you to guess. I know you don't have this clip or you didn't hear this. How much was he paid to take the SAT for somebody, and then also not only take it but get a score that would be? Apparently, he was so good he could manipulate the score, so he knew all the answers, and he could. How much was he paid per test?
Why would you think I wouldn't know this number?
Oh, you know it?
Yeah, of course. What do you think I do all day?
Oh, man.
Florida prep school administrator Mark Riddell pled guilty today in Boston federal court to taking entrance exams for students in a massive college admissions bribery scheme. Prosecutors said the 36-year-old Harvard graduate was typically paid $10,000 per test. Riddell could face up to 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine.
Now, did you think that was a lot?
I didn't think it was a little or a lot. I just thought it was good money for taking a test.
I was thinking the same way, like, because you can only pick one up, once every couple of weeks, I guess.
Yeah, but it's $10,000. You do 10 a year, you made $100,000 off the top.
Yeah, well, there's hope. Hey, exit strategy. Do you think you could ace? Do you think you could ace the exam?
I could come pretty close. I got really high scores on the SATs.
Oh. Now we all know why I went to West Virginia.
Well, West Virginia's a good place to be.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, here's we talked earlier in the show about, that's true, that girl.
Yes, yes.
Well, one of our producers sent me the link to her talking about horse healing, which is what she does for a living.
And she's completely different.
She's completely different. She's still nuts, but she's completely different, and she's a little more normal. Oh, well, if you want to call it normal with what you're going to hear here. But I
think we need to just give a little a little taste of people who don't know what we're talking about. What is your original clip? What are they called? Kooks, dingbats,
crackpots. I forgot something insulting.
Yeah, that would be about right for you. Come on, man. What's
I'm not denying it?
I'm
not a denialist.
No, I wish I could. The Angelic Initiative.
No, that's the newer clips.
Oh.
Let me look through my clip list.
Yeah, if you can just tell me the name, I just want people
to.
If
I can find it.
Not every.
I do a lot of work here,
Yeah, we all saw the picture of your studio. Yeah,
a
lot of work.
It's hard to maintain.
Yeah, I know. You got to clean all that equipment.
I don't have. Well, wait. Maybe here. This is it. Nut balls.
Oh, nut
balls. 2 nuts on mosquitoes.
Nut balls. 2 nuts on mosquitoes. Contacting Mary.
All right, message from Mary. I cannot wait for this.
No, this is not the message from Mary.
It says contact.
No, that's the other. That's a different nut ball. I had a lot of nut ball clips. Nut ball 00 is the one we're looking for. 2 nuts on mosquitoes.
Okay, I have 2 nuts. Oh, yes. Here we go.
We're faced with this Hobson's choice of, as a collective, deciding to live gentler on the land. That's true. Not being so poisonous, like letting the mosquitoes flourish so that the birds can flourish, so that the mammals can flourish, so that all life can flourish. That's true.
Okay, so I think everyone understands now, if you never heard of them. And they're guiding energy pathways, etc.
Yeah, and they're holding their arms up in the air like idiots.
Well, I let me listen to this. I've seen the entire thing, so I'm looking forward to a refresher course of the "That's True" girl as a horse healer.
As a vet, it's not really possible to do that, and because that electromagnetic field runs through all the aspects of their experience of sentience, it's possible for me to really get inside of there. And as a vet, it's not really possible to do that. And as a trainer, it's not really possible to do that. And so this is a very unusual skill set. And then once I'm inside the horse's energy body, we can find the blockages that are underneath their problems. It doesn't matter if it's a physical problem, a behavioral problem, an emotional problem, a training problem. There's something under there keeping that horse from healing, or that horse would have healed already and we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I'm trained surgically to be able to work inside the energy body, get the blockage, get it out. And then the healing often happens like a miracle. Sometimes it's more like physical therapy, and we keep going back for layers until the problem goes away. And we know it's healed because the problem goes away and it never comes back. So that's the first part and the structural part of what I do that's different from normal energy healing modalities, which I recognize is a very funny phrase to be saying in this room. And then the second part of what makes my work different from normal energy healing modalities is where we leave the realm of what's even kind of normal, and now we're about to enter the territory of the truly weird. Show of hands. Who in this room believes in guardian angels? Good guys upstairs looking out for you. Wow, I like this room. Okay, fantastic. So you're on board.
All right. I need to say something. When I saw this entire, it's like 15 minutes, all of a sudden it put into context what she's actually doing. Is that her mom, or is that just another friend of hers?
That's her mom.
That's her mom. Yeah. I've done energy work, and I think she's legit. I have to say, it comes across as weird.
Think that. I think that's probably why you insulted me a little while ago, because I think you're all in with this woman. You and her are compatico.
When did I insult you? What are you talking about?
Well, you said, because I named it. I said I named it something insulting, and then you said, yeah, well, that's what you do. Which was, yeah, okay. So it wasn't insulting it was insulting in a meta sense, and. Because I knew when I got this clip, I said to myself, and now sounds like I'm insulting you, but I'm not. But I am and I'm not. It's meta. I got the clip and I said, you know what? I'll bet you Adam is into this stuff, and he's probably going to push back a little bit and take the side of this woman who is clearly a crackpot. Now, that said, she does, and I believe this to be true, she is hired by some of the top trainers in the Kentucky area.
Yes, she
for
is.
Thoroughbred
for real money. Yeah, for real money. I'm sure.
And they don't pay. They're not cheapies. I mean, we're talking about lots of money.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to say that. Well, I am going to say it is bull crap. But okay, she's a horse whisperer.
No, she gets inside the horse's energy body.
Yeah.
And once she's in there, then she can easily see the areas that have blockage that need to be opened up.
Yeah.
And
Theremin, please. Theremin.
I'm not. I'm sorry.
Theremin.
Yeah, when you call it, then you got to give it to you. Yes. But I am not insulted because just as I know how you write nasty clip names, which was not meant insulting or passive aggressive, you were right. I am pushing back a little bit because I've benefited from energy work.
Yeah.
So, and if, yeah.
Was it a guy or a woman that was in your energy field?
A woman. It was, I call it a witch.
There's a funny punchline to that.
Yeah. Well, where is it then?
I'll let it go.
Oh, okay.
You and the candles.
You set yourself up, and then you can't deliver the punchline. That's sad.
It's because the punchline is
just sad.
I backed off. You're right. You pushed back, and I chickened out. So that's true, girl.
Yeah.
We do have a couple of updates that we want to get out of the way.
Yeah, wait. First, a mea culpa. I incorrectly identified show favorite Professor Stephen Cohen when it was really Andrew Klavan, who sounded very much like Cohen on the previous show.
Where did you get this clip to begin with?
Someone sent it to me.
Did someone send it to you and identify it as Cohen?
No, I misidentified it. He said this is on the Andrew Klavan podcast, and this is part of the problem when you have thousands of producers. This was on the Andrew Klavan podcast. Have a listen. So I listen. I think, this is Stephen Cohen, because I don't know Andrew Klavan. I've never heard him. I didn't know it was him. But I feel bad because we trashed Professor Cohen unjustly.
We trashed Professor Cohen because he wouldn't put up with an interview by us.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, exactly. See?
We didn't trash him for what he said there because the stealer of the material was Molly Hemingway.
Right. Yes. Well, no.
So you didn't really trash Cohen as much as we trashed Hemingway and Cohen for not speaking, but even though whether that was Cohen or not, that fact remains.
Hold on.
What?
I'm just getting into the professor's energy field, into his energy body. Okay, good. I got it. Everything's good. I fixed it.
Yeah, we'll remove the blockage. So that was a mistake you made.
Yeah, my mistake.
And I blame myself because I have listened to Klavan's show a couple of times, and I should have caught this. It was my fault. I consider, because the way we work this show is that we quality control each other constantly. And when somebody makes a blunder and screws up royally, the other person is supposed to jump in and call him on it,
and gloat.
And maybe it depends on the screw up, because you make these minor errors
all the time.
And I do too. That are nothing. You just mispronounced something.
Right.
Yeah, that doesn't. Nothing to gloat about. But this would have been a good one for me. But no, I completely dropped the ball. I don't know if I was not paying attention or if I wasn't thinking. I was irked by Cohen not wanting to do the interview, and that's what was clouding my judgment at the moment.
Yeah.
That had to be it.
Yeah.
No, Klavan's show is, someone said, well, you should listen to Klavan's show and get clips. He's not clippable. Yeah. For one thing, he does what we do, so it's like.
Well, this is something I need to mention. People will say, send me an email or whatever. Great, great clip for this, and it's some guy talking about a situation, and that's not interesting for us.
No, we want news reports.
Yeah, news reports. We want a person who's in the news, who happens to be on a podcast. But typically, I mean, I'm not going to play Jimmy Dore's opinion, although it doesn't always differ from ours. But who gives a shit? That's Jimmy Dore, just like he's like, who gives a shit? It's Curry and Dvorak. We need the people who are being discussed. If they're on the show, then it's a big deal.
Yeah, and even Abby Martin doesn't qualify.
No.
She was on the Jimmy. The problem with this woman, she was originally an Oaklander, as far as I know.
Yeah.
But the problem with her is that she gets these guys. She's like a vamp.
Yeah, gets them all jacked up. Like Elizabeth Holmes. She got that kind of effect.
Yeah, that's what Martin does. She gets these she gets all made up. She doesn't go in plain Jane like she normally is. She gets all made up, wears her heels, and tries to stand up in them. And then she's there batting her eyes at these guys, and these guys are melting.
Yeah.
This is not good. We're not getting clips about this. This is no good. I mean, she does the same thing with what's his name down in L.A., Rogan. She comes on Rogan's show and bats her eyes a lot and cusses. For some reason, she was on Jimmy Dore's show, and she doesn't cuss so much. She goes on Rogan's show, and she's cussing up a storm.
Yeah. Well, at least, I'll give her this. At least she gets on Rogan's show. I couldn't get on Rogan's show if I...
Well, I'll tell you, put some makeup on, a little blue eyeliner, and you'll be good to go on Rogan's show, I think.
And curse. I've got the cursing down.
Yeah, again, curse.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe wear some tight pants. That would probably help.
Hey, I want to play one last clip because it kind of sums up everything that's wrong with a lot of people when it comes to climate change. This, the entire narrative has now come together into one ball of statement that Bill Maher put together in his show, in his New Rules segment. And I cut out most of the clapping and, just stuff that was like, he had joke after joke. So I want your message, not your joke. So it is out of context in that regard, but it's very clear that the concept of there's too many people lives large amongst proponents of the Green New Deal and the New World Order and globalism in general. And I was very surprised because we've been through the population bomb thing, and it turned out to be completely bullcrap, and the adverse was true. And here's Bill Maher. And I love it when I do those setups and it doesn't start.
No, it's always funny.
I
think this is your guardian angel, man, teaching you a lesson.
Let me just get out of my energy body and start the clip.
And finally, new rule, let's take a break from bashing millennials for their safe spaces, man buns, and avocado toast. And give them credit for doing something right. Having less sex than other generations, and so less babies, which is good for the planet. Woo!
You get the gist? First of all, is this a common belief, or is this just the applause sign went on and they applauded? Or do people really think that's great? I mean, do you think it's better if we have less people?
Well, there's an awful lot of that going around. That meme is going around, and it's going around big.
Well, yes. Well, here it is then.
But instead of asking why America's young people are having less sex, let's just be glad they are. Earth Day is coming up, and I can't think of a better gift to our planet than pumping out fewer humans to destroy it. People talk...
Woo! Are they insane? I'm against this talk.
It's evil.
Yeah. Talk a lot about bringing a cloth bag to the market and driving electric, but the great under-discussed factor in the climate crisis is there are just too many of us, and we use too much shit. Climate deniers like to say, there's no population problem, just look out the window of an airplane. Something but empty space down there. But it's not about space. It's about resources. Humans are already using 1.7 times the resources the planet can support.
Where did this? There's that thing again. That wasn't that an AOC thing?
I don't know. It crops up. These are all population control nutballs. They want. They're trying to kill us. Trying to kill us off.
The world's population is increasing by 1 million people every 4.5 days. And that's just on the 405.
I gave him that one.
We don't need smaller carbon footprints. We need less feet. I mean, some days, a simple trip to the grocery store takes hours between the traffic and finding parking, the lines. I tell you, I don't know how my assistant does it.
See, when he does that, that's when I kind of go towards the Rogan camp of thinking this whole thing is a bit and he's just doing it to make these kinds of jokes. Because that's serious. Felt like what?
It's just the way it's the structure of his material, period. He does that. This is the same as the John Oliver bit and the and Colbert not so much anymore, but where you do you make a serious point and then you back it off with something that's ludicrous and kind of funny to make people kind of think that you're okay.
Right. It's that trick. You're right. It's the Jon Stewart cadence. You're right. Wait, ha ha ha! I'm laughing, and the message was embedded into my head. Damn it, Dvorak, you're right again. See, I don't insult you.
So it's no wonder millennials are freaking out about having kids. They and Generation Z are waking up en masse to the idea that way too early in their lifetimes, the planet is going to be a shit show. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez recently did a live Q&A on Instagram where she said it outright. She said,
"What?"
He did a tell.
Oh, gosh.
Clearing his voice.
Oh, my God. I missed it. Good one.
It's no wonder millennials are freaking out about having kids. They and Generation Z are waking up en masse to the idea that way too early in their lifetimes, the planet is going to be a shit show. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez recently did a live Q&A.
Wow, that was an in vocal tell. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. On Instagram where she said it outright. She said, young people are asking, is it okay to still have children? Utah's Republican Senator Mike Lee went so far as to rebut AOC's threat to stop breeding by saying climate change is an engineering problem and problems of human imagination are not solved by more laws, but by more humans. Which is easy for Mike Lee to say. He's a Mormon. When he dies, he gets his own planet. Liberals are also at fault on this issue. I've never heard a liberal say that falling birth rates are a good thing, which they are. Everyone talks about falling birth rate like it means there's something desperately wrong with the country. They're depressed. They're not fucking enough. You know what? Whatever problems are caused by falling birth rates aren't nearly as dire as the ones brought on by overpopulation. In 1900, there were less than 2 billion people on Earth. Now it's approaching 8. We can't just keep going on like this. The world is just too crowded. When was the last time you sat comfortably on an airplane? Wouldn't it be nicer to just have fewer people around? You know, it's no secret that there are a lot of...
He sounds like a white supremacist, really, to me. He just wants fewer people around. He doesn't want a lot of people in the airplane with him.
Of Jewish people in show business.
Oh, yeah, this is good. This is actually very interesting. This is the end. So you want... I'll just go back. So, again, the context, you want less people...
When was the last time you sat comfortably on an airplane? Wouldn't it be nicer to just have fewer people around?
Fewer people?
You know, it's no secret that there are a lot of Jewish people in show business. So on days here in Hollywood when it's a Jewish holiday, the traffic, delightful. Delightful. That's what we should be shooting for, to make every day look like a Jewish holiday in Los Angeles.
I found that very odd.
Hold on a second. He used the word shooting and then he wants less Jews?
Yeah, and in context of fewer people, he's saying, fewer. That's almost like something, a joke Hitler could have made.
It's coded. This is the way if it was Trump.
Yeah, if Trump...
He is coding the word shoot all Jews.
Yeah.
That's what he just said.
Yes. And, yeah.
We can play that game.
It's pretty disgusting.
Oh, I don't know why anyone did. This is a very bad, he doesn't.
So we started off by saying there's too many damn people, but just like Jews in Hollywood on a Jewish holiday, it's great. The world is great. So we want every day to be like a Jewish holiday when the Jews aren't there.
Yeah,
that's what we're shooting for.
Yeah, that's what we're shooting for. It's exactly it.
The world is just too crowded. When was the last time you sat comfortably on an airplane? Wouldn't it be nicer to just have fewer people around? You know, it's no secret that there are a lot of Jewish people in show business. So on days...
By the way, that by itself, I once said that, in Holland in an interview, and the Dutch Anti-Defamation League came after me, and I had to apologize publicly because I'd said that. It's no secret there's a lot of Jews in Hollywood. Just saying.
Nicer to just have fewer people around. You know, it's no secret that there are a lot of Jewish people in show business. So on days here in Hollywood when it's a Jewish holiday, the traffic, delightful. Delightful. That's what we should be shooting for, to make every day look like a Jewish holiday in Los Angeles.
Wow.
So, please, masturbate. Don't procreate.
Which is what he does, apparently.
Yeah.
Before each show.
So what is his real message here? What is he really trying to say? Is he trying to say anything?
Did he write it?
I don't know, man. But
he proved it because he's like the head writer for all practical purposes.
Yeah.
Even though there is a head writer usually.
But so it's climate change. The problem is we got too many damn humans, and we should be ultimately we should be removing the Jews.
That's the way I would look at it.
That's what we're shooting for.
If I'm the Defamation League, I don't know why they're not on his case tomorrow.
Should at least explain that it was a bit. That would be horrible, though, if a comedian had to explain as a bit. But is he a comedian or talk show host? I don't know.
Oh, these guys are doing a lot of political stuff.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's true.
That's true. Need to thank Matt L., Jesse Coy Nelson, let me see, and Danny Luce, for they are bringing us the end of show tunes for this episode, and we appreciate that very much. And we'll be back on a Thursday with another jam-packed show filled with deconstruction. I don't know, Scott Adams, we found news. I'm coming to you from downtown Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State and FEMA Region number 6 in the 5x9 Cludio, almost for the last time, in the common law condo as well for the last time. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, I'm John C. Dvorak.
Remember us at Dvorak.org/NA until Thursday. Adios, mofos! And such.
I can punch pretty hard, not bragging.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm not bragging. A lot of men are like that.
That's true.
And then I slam your head in the concrete. I'm not bragging, but...
That's true.
I'm not some pseudo-intellectual here.
That's true.
I'm not bragging. Again, I'm not bragging. I'm not bragging.
That's true.
I'm not bragging when Jeff Bridges calls me. I knew Vladimir Putin listened on a routine basis. Chuck Norris listens to us almost every day. It's not bragging about Chuck Norris.
That's true.
And Oprah Winfrey is coming.
That's true. That's true.
I can pretty much speed read.
That's true.
I really have read thousands of books.
That's true.
I'm not bragging, but aren't those some big pecs?
That's true.
I'm not bragging. Again, I'm not bragging. I'm not bragging. I didn't believe in Santa Claus at 2.5, and nobody had to tell me. And I'm not bragging. I mean, it's a fact, folks. I can think 50 levels up, okay? I mean, I'm not bragging, but I was 14 dating college chicks.
That's true.
If I was to hit somebody 20 times, they'd probably die.
That's true.
This is big mojo.
That's true.
I mean, I'm not bragging. I just want you to get the newsflash here.
That's true.
The problem is I don't want to release this stuff on the earth. I'm not bragging.
That's true.
I'm not bragging. Again, I'm not bragging. I'm not bragging. I mean, I'm not bragging, but I would literally have just absolutely devastated all those people in about 10 seconds. And I'm not bragging. A lot of folks in the grassroots are bringing this to Trump, but we brought it directly to him.
That's true.
I got tricks 1,000 times more vicious.
That's true.
I know what I'm talking about.
That's true.
Man, I'm not bragging today. I'm Mr. Cool.
That's true.
When I was 12, I was going after women.
That's true.
I'm not bragging, but just about general concepts. I could sit around talking about quantum mechanics and M theory with people. I'm sitting with William Benny and I go, but doesn't a hologram of a mathematical equation of something with that much data create mathematically its own mass and create a distortion mirror of the sub-key, a projection of the dark matter coding? And he was just like, I'm not talking about classified stuff.
That's true.
The only demarcation moment is where there's an
that you do not torch, and that's an ant that's carrying one of the dead ants back.
Oh, no, you have to be, that's the guy you have to let go, of course.
Yeah, that's the guy that's on the side of a hill.
Do you think that hill is just one big ant hill?
No, it's mostly bedrock. Bedrock your house. It's on the side of a hill. It's a big giant rock.
Okay.
But there's enough soil. These ants, they don't need a lot. There's enough soil. That's called siege mode.
Yeah. What other modes do your ants have?
Well, they have sneak attack. That's called siege mode.
Yeah. What other modes do your ants have?
Well, they have trick for people who are especially let's go to these Argentinian ants. And this trick does indeed work. So one of the things that the ants will do in the kitchen is that they'll send a scout, 1, 2, 3, or 4 scouts out every single for people who are especially on the West Coast of these Argentinian ants. And this trick does a trick for people who are especially on the West Coast of
when you wake up, well, you know I'm gonna be the man who's older, lie to you. And when we go out, well, you know I'm gonna be the man who acts as Putin's fool. When you're suffering, well, you know I'll never be the man who's suffering with you. And if you're Muslim or a Syrian refugee, then you're not welcome in my outright UKIP queue. Because I would tell 500 lies and I would tell 500 more. Just a stone cut hate and xenophobic violence till we're out the door. If you're working, well, you know there's gonna be all sorts of low-paid work for you. Because the migrant who does the work that you won't do has been deported and they're back in the EU. If you're a patient with medication overshoes, remember, I'm the reason why it can't get through. Then when you're hospitalised, no one's there to care for you, because half the nursing staff have been deported too. So she won that because there'll be no king too.
You know, it's one of the really sad things about all this.
Hey, citizen.
Snow. That's true.
This is about American lives. This is not an elitist issue.
Contra.
Fact check false.
Amen. Fist bump.
Coincidence? I think not. Putin!
Thanks, Obama.
U.S. President Donald Trump.
He said, yes, yes, yes!
I'm a douchebag!
Yes. Yes.
Now this is a battle to the death.
That's true.
It is good to be back in Puerto Rico.
Where it seems like people just don't care what's true or what's real, or what's actually going on.
Yeah, they don't care at all.
That's true.
The best podcast in the universe.
Mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Now it's Mueller time.